hold up, I am on my way, I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing.
Welcome to Crafty Beach. This is Julie. Today I have a compilation video where I put together all of the spring DIYs I've made so far this year in 2024. We're going to be doing spring and we're going to be doing St. Patrick's Day. I have a total of 34 DIYs that I've made for spring, and let's go. Now the first sign, I'm actually using one of these signs I got on clearance at Target Dollar Spot, but Dollar Tree has the same exact sign, same size and everything. And what I want to do is do like a little sola wood rose, ombre like wall hanging. So I'm going to cut down a piece of cardstock. This is just the regular sheet of the paper, and that sign and the Dollar Tree sign are just a little bit smaller. And what I want to do is take these little wood curl roses from the Dollar Tree. You get 4 in a package. And I want to do like a whole wall of them on that sign. But I also want to spray paint them ombre. And so I don't want the overspray to go on the sign. So I'm going to do it on cardstock first. That way the overspray will just go on the cardstock instead. So I had to kind of see how many was going to fit on here. I did 5 across. And then I thought I could do a 7 down. I ended up only being able to do a 6 down. So I only used a total of 8 packages. I had 10 just in case because I wasn't sure how many I was going to need. And I'm just kind of laying them out to get them ready. And then what I'm going to do is attach these to the cardstock and paint them on that with like the ombre effect. I've never painted these before, but they turned out really cool, so I'll probably do that again. I love these little wood flowers from Dollar Tree. They're so pretty. And the great thing about a lot of these DIYs today is since I'm doing pinks, you could do it for Valentine's Day, but all of them are spring DIYs, so you can leave them up all spring, so that works great. Now, the most challenging part, as you can see, is getting the hot glue to dry to make sure these little flowers are standing straight up and not tipping over. I was trying to do like maybe a couple at a time to make it go a little bit faster, but I just keep gluing down. And, you know, you can like put things next to them to kind of hold it up, but I was just trying to hold it. I don't want like a permanent bond. I just wanted enough of a bond to make these little guys stand up so that I could paint them first. And I'm glad that I did like this cardstock or paper method because it did get lots of overspray on the back, and that would have just not looked as good on the final product. So a little bit of prep getting you ready for this one for sure. So I'm already on row 5. As you can see, there's no way I'm going to be able to fit 2 more rows in there. So a total of 8 packages is plenty for that size sign. And that sign from the Dollar Tree, they have a couple different finishes of wood of that one, but I actually had the one from the Dollar Spot, so I'm going to use that one today. So we have them all. They're all standing up, except for this one. Trying to get the glue to dry just enough. I don't want like a permanent bond or anything like that. I just want to be able to paint them. So I'm going to go ahead now that I've got them all attached to cardstock and kind of put them in a box so that we can start spray painting them. I picked up a couple colors of pink spray paint at Lowe's yesterday because I wanted to do like a pink ombre. So what I'm going to do is start with this gloss mambo pink, I guess it's called, then candy pink, and then more of a white. This is like called sand dollar. I didn't really want that bright of a pink, but finding different shades of pink is a little bit challenging, I was noticing, so we're going to make it work. So I'm going to start with like the most bold color, the mambo pink here at the very top, and I'm just going to simply spray paint the first couple of rows with a little overspray on the 3rd row there. And then I'm going to switch to the candy pink, which is way lighter. And the great thing about using spray paint to ombre is that you naturally get that fade between one to the other from the little bit of overspray. And I kind of did like, 2.5 of the soft pink too. And then we're going to finish it up with like the shade of white. This isn't exactly white, but it's pretty close. Kind of a soft white. And I sprayed the bottom 2 rows with the white. Now I do want that ombre effect, a little bit more pink than white. So I did spray again a couple times like the pink there to make sure everything kind of looks good. That slow, gentle transition in color. And then I just speeded up the drying process with my heat gun. It actually went pretty fast. Now we can attach these to the sign. I love this idea. You could do this, on a smaller scale or a larger scale. Just so pretty. And you could do it with, artificial flowers as well. But I really like the look of the little sola roses. I think they're super sweet. So let's go ahead and start attaching these. I'm going to be doing the same thing as I did on the cardstock, hot gluing them one at a time. And you do have to be kind of careful pulling them off. You don't want to break the flowers. And so I'm going to actually start in the middle. It doesn't really matter as long as I'm using like the right row of color. That way I can get my center row centered properly. So I just sit that, and again, as you can see, it does take a while for the hot glue to set up. So it's almost better to kind of put some things, and I'll show you what I ended up using to kind of, stand the flowers up while the hot glue is drying. And then I'm going to start here on the bottom with one of the white roses. And I wanted to kind of do the first middle row first, so I would kind of know my spacing. And as you can see, what I'm using to stand them up are just the little pink finger protectors from Dollar Tree. That worked perfect. They were just the right size and small enough that you can kind of put them wherever needed. So as you can see, I'm going from top, and then I'm also working up from the bottom. And then I have 2 more. I want them to be kind of spaced evenly without like a huge gap, and I think that's going to work fine. And so I just glue those in place as well. Trying to make sure that I have the ombre effect. And then I'm just going to finish it off by gluing all the rest of them. I'm kind of working from the center out. I'm going to go ahead and do all of the hot pink up here. I didn't really want to do that bold of a pink, but really I only had 1 row here that was that bold because I had a lot more of, the mixture between the colors. Like this is kind of turned out like a medium pink, which is great. And those little finger protectors worked perfect for this because I could hot glue them, stand them up with that while that glued, and it actually turned out really sturdy in the end. So I'm going to continue my way down, doing all the colors in the ombre, and I'm just going to leave like that frame, that color. And as you can see, that wood background looks great back there. And if you can see like the back of my paper, how much overspray there was just by a couple passes with that, definitely was the right way to do it. Now I found the best way to pull these off the cardstock was actually just to rip the paper just a little bit, and then you could just cut it off, and it almost gave you more of a flat bottom for these that you could glue down to the sign, and it made them actually a little bit easier to attach. So we're just going to finish up the final few rows here, and you can see that gentle ombre effect with the pink. I love that. I think that's so fun, and I think this is going to be a great little wall hanging for spring. Since it's kind of a firm sign, you could also kind of lean this against something, make it more of a shelf sitter. Haven't decided which way I'm going to use it. I kind of like it like leaning up against something. I think it looks really pretty for spring. And that's all there is to it. So we have the little wood sola. I'm going to go ahead and get all of any of the glue strings. It's really easy just to melt those off with your heat gun. Clean it up and make sure it looks its best. And I love how this turned out. There was definitely a little bit of prep by having to glue it twice, but I'm so glad I did because in the end I got this beautiful wood flower wall hanging. Isn't this so pretty? And the ombre effect, I love that, the different pinks. And the only way I think you probably do that is with spray paint. I don't normally spray paint a lot of things, but I thought to get inside the flowers like that and to get a really cool ombre effect, spray paint was definitely necessary. Okay, our next DIY, I wanted to do a cute little spring wreath. So I'm going to use one of the little wood bead wreaths from the Dollar Tree. These are kind of a medium-sized wreath. They're not super big, but I thought we could make it look really sweet. So we're going to be using some of these soft pink peonies from the Dollar Tree. And I want to do like a total of 3 of these. I love the shade of pink. It's very soft. So I'm just going to take these off. There's different sizes. There's like larger ones like this, but there's also smaller ones too. So I was trying to decide if I wanted to do like 3 large ones or if I wanted to go back and do like a large one in the middle and a small one on each side. And I thought that looked a little bit better. And again, those are all on the same stem. And I'm actually going to do it where the wire comes together down there. That way the top of my wreath looks pretty with all the wood beads and all of that will be hidden. I wanted to kind of iron these out a little bit because you know Dollar Tree flowers can get a little bent and not look their best. But a great trick for this is just to use your hot gun. You can like almost like iron them a little bit, get them to do exactly what you want to do with a little bit of heat, straighten everything out. And so I'm going to do that with all 3 of them, make them look their best since they're going to be displayed on this wreath. And then I'm also going to be adding some Dollar Tree lamb's ear and some of those little pink berries. I thought that'd be really pretty at the bottom of the wreath. And this turned out just so pretty. I love it. This is the lamb's ear that I'm going to use. And I'm going to actually kind of separate the leaves into like individual leaves because I want to like have it kind of gradually going up the sides of the wreath a little bit. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull them off. They pull right off on these Dollar Tree stems, so that is really easy. And I'm going to go ahead and start with 8 here. And then these are the little berries. These are actually from the Easter aisle at Dollar Tree right now. They have a slight shininess or glitter, but nothing too obnoxious, so I think this is going to work well. I'm just going to take 2 that are approximately the same size and just pull those off as well. Now, I thought the sturdiest way to do this would be to use some floral wire. So I'm using some floral wire from the Dollar Tree, and I'm actually going to wire all of this to the wreath, and it actually ended up pretty sturdy. I didn't think hot glue was going to do a great job here. And so I just went ahead and wrapped that around the stem of my largest flower, and I actually fed the wire through like the metal circle there at the bottom to secure this. And then I made sure to leave the wire long enough for both sides so that I can use that to wire up. I kind of went behind and I skipped a couple of beads, and then I can go in and wire on my next flower. And once you get started on it, it worked pretty well. I'm not a big fan of using wires for wreaths like this, but I'm glad I did because this is really actually pretty sturdy in the end. So again, I'm going to skip 2 rows of the wood beads, and this is all going to be covered in flowers down here anyway, so you don't really have to worry if your wire is showing there, but I did try to kind of go behind. And then I just wrap that tightly around this one as well, pull it around and wire it in between the wood beads for a nice tight fit. So I think that's all for the flowers. Now we can start on the lamb's ear. They don't really have much of a stem on them. So I'm actually just going to take the wire and wrap it around the end as close as I can get, and then wrap that around as well. What I did was I went on the same row with the first flower, and then or the first leaf, and then I skipped 1 row of the beads, and then I wired on my next. And I'm going to do that like kind of going up the side. I don't want them all like going exactly the same direction and stuff like that. But I want them to kind of like fill it out, kind of look like a swag. Like I want this one to kind of point more to the side and less down. So again, I just wire that. I still have plenty of the wire there where I can just keep kind of working my way up. Now this one didn't want to stay in too well. Didn't get it very tight, so I did fix that one with a little bit of hot glue just to make sure that my leaf stays attached to my wire. Like that. And then I'm going to do another one here, kind of going up as well, and just kind of skipping another row of the wood beads. And I think I actually skipped 2 on this one to kind of, because that leaf was kind of big. So there's plenty of space in between these to display them. And I also attached that one with a little bit of hot glue too, because I wasn't sure about the leaves staying on. And then I'm going to do the same thing here, kind of following the example on the other side. Start with my first leaf on the same one as my flower, and then skipping one, doing another leaf and wiring it to it. By the end of this, I was actually getting pretty good with the wire. So I might have to use that more. I know I usually like hot glue to wreaths, but a lot of times if you're going to be doing anything outside, especially here in Florida, that hot glue does not hold up great outside. Then I skipped 2 for the final one and wired on this leaf as well. I kind of had my wire cut just perfect. I didn't have to cut anything off or anything at the end. And I just wanted to slightly go up on the sides like that with that soft lamb's ear. I absolutely love this stuff. And then I want like the little pink berries kind of peeking out the side on both sides, kind of breaking up some of the leaf as well. And I'm just going to wire that on as well. They kind of have a hole in the piece from where it was on the stem. And so I'm just going to take advantage of that, put my wire straight through that. So this is good and attached. And then take that wire and put it right where I want it, right about here. I decided to change it up, kind of in between the 2 and the 2. So it has a kind of a background of the leaves. And then I just wire that between the wood beads. There's a little bit of room, you know, to wiggle those wood beads around so you can kind of get a tight fit. And I think that looks pretty good. So I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. Now, if yours doesn't have a hole in the top, like this one didn't have a hole in the top, I just cut a hole in the top because that worked so well for the other side. And did my floral wire through there. And again, I'm going to do it between the 2 and 2 leaves like this. And I'm going to add a few more of the lamb's ear leaves to this to kind of fill it out a little bit more. But this is basically everything that I'm going to wire to it. Because as you can see, it's getting pretty full down there, at least like being wired to the actual wreath. And then I just kind of fluff everything out, make sure everything is covered. I don't really want you to be able to see any of the wire and stuff. And that's why I'm going to add a few more of the leaves to kind of cover that up and just to make it a little bit fuller. So I like grabbed 2 of the ones that were kind of attached like that. And I'm just going to hot glue those kind of on top of the other ones, where that all kind of comes together and you can't see any of the wire. That's keeping everything together. I'm going to do this same thing over here. And I just love the look of the soft pink flowers with the lamb's ear. I did this color scheme for one of my Valentine's Day tier trays this year in my kitchen. And I absolutely love it. I think it's so sweet. So it kind of inspired me to do all of the spring DIYs today. Just cleaning up any hot glue, making sure everything looks good. And all we need now is a hanger. I'm just going to cut some twine from the Dollar Tree, kind of find the center of my wood bead wreath. So this will make it hang properly. Just string between the wood beads and all you got to do is tie a knot. A very simple little wreath hanger, and I love how this turned out. It's so sweet. It's kind of small for a door, so I think I'll hang this probably in my entryway for spring. I have a small wall like when you first walk in. I think it'll look really pretty there. And this is how it turned out, our little pink flower spring wreath. I just love that combination of those colors together. I think it's so pretty. What do you guys think about my spring wreath? And here is a view from behind. I know a lot of you guys like to take screenshots of these, so I was sure to include those today. Hey guys, I wanted to take a quick moment out of today's video and let you know about my Facebook group. I have it linked below. I would love it if you joined us. I also have Facebook Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest, and my handle is Crafty Beach on YouTube. Okay, back to the DIYs. For the next one, I wanted to do a spring candle. So I picked up one of these little candle holders from the Dollar Tree and a little candle stick. And I thought we could put this all together for a really beautiful spring candle. I want to, again, use the lamb's ear, but I kind of want to do like a lamb's ear garland that wraps around the candle. I thought that would look really pretty for spring. And I love the little pink candlestick, so that goes with our soft pink color. And then I just got an ivory like pillar candle at Dollar Tree. Now I'm cutting all the leaves in individual pieces. I was trying to do small ones, maybe a larger one here and there, whatever will work. But since I'm going to be making my own garland, I don't want it to have much of a stem. I just kind of want it to cascade like around, like if I actually had a small lamb's ear garland. So I just went and trimmed the stems off all of them. I thought that would make more sense. And I'm actually just going to use some twine from the Dollar Tree to build our little DIY vine. Now I just take some hot glue right here on the back of my lamb's ear and glue that on like that. And then I can just kind of alternate which way the leaves go. So I kind of flipped it upside down so I can glue the twine on. And I'm not really measuring. I'm just kind of estimating about where I would want, how full I want my garland to be. And I'm just going to make my own little DIY lamb's ear garland. I thought that would be easier and maybe help it like all stay attached to it as well. And as you can see, I'm kind of alternating sizes, doing like 2 small, 1 large until I go through those. And then I'm going to kind of see if that is enough to kind of go all the way through. I didn't think it was, so I'm going to add just maybe a couple more here of the smaller leaves. And I was doing the smaller ones at the top. So let's see if that's enough to go all the way around. Looks pretty good. Maybe one more here would be perfect. And then I just cut off the twine and we have our little lamb's ear garland. I'm not really going to do anything to the pink candlestick or anything like that, but I do want to decorate this little candle holder. So I'm actually hot gluing the leaves themselves to the glass. I thought that would be easier than trying to glue the twine to it, but the twine I think is going to help everything stay together as well. But I thought it would be a little bit more secure if I hot glue this to the outside. And I want to be able to burn this candle, so I don't really want anything that's going to interfere with that or get in the way. I just kind of want all of this to be on the outside. And I thought it would look really pretty when I light the candle up, being able to see like the leaves wrapped around it. On that soft pink candlestick, and I love how this turned out. It was pretty easy to do. Now, some of my larger leaves were a little too big, so I'm just going to kind of trim those down. I didn't want this one to be like, longer than the candle holder itself. And I also didn't want anything to catch on fire. I had one kind of going up here a little bit too high. So I just trimmed that down to size, kind of made it more a medium size. Pretty easy to get that shape. And then just making sure all of my leaves are attached really well and I've cleaned up any of my strings of hot glue. I'm not going to glue this to it. It fits on there perfectly. That way I'll be able to reuse the candlestick later. And then we can just add our little pillar candle. It fits in there perfectly. It's just a vanilla scent from Dollar Tree, and this is how it turned out, our little spring candle holder. So we didn't really do flowers on this one, but we did do the soft pink. We did do the lamb's ear, and I think it turned out really kind of soft and romantic and sweet. This is it, and I will show it to you lit up as well, so you can kind of see that as well, to kind of see the effect that it gives you, wrapping it in that. And I think it turned out really sweet. I'm glad I decided to DIY my own lamb's ear. This is how it looks lit up. Isn't that cute? Hey guys, if you're enjoying today's video so far, be sure to hit that like button. It always helps. And don't forget to subscribe. We're trying to get to 30,000 subscribers. Okay, our next DIY, I wanted to do a Hello Spring DIY, but I wanted to go with that soft pink theme. So I'm going to be using some of the Dollar Tree wood letters to spell out Hello Spring and a Dollar Tree wood sign. I think that's going to be perfect. So I just turned my letters upside down and put some painter's tape on the back, just a really easy way to kind of paint these and keep it together. Now I find with these packs from the Dollar Tree, I'm always running out of E's because you get one of every letter in there, and I must use a lot of E's. I wish you could just buy vowels. But what I'm going to do is turn an F and an L into an E, and it actually works out pretty well. So I'm going to go ahead and put hello there, add my F and my other part that's going to make our F and E, and we can spell out Hello Spring. I'm going to kind of tape down the end so these stay in place. And I'm going to leave like the sign like that natural color. We're going to be adding those pink flowers over there. So I thought white would be a nice contrast. And so I'm just using a white makeup sponge and some acrylic paint and painting these letters white. I love these wood letters from the Dollar Tree. They can be a little tricky to find. So whenever I find them, I try to stock up on them. But again, I almost wish you could buy them with like consonants or vowels, because I definitely do go through more vowels. I have a lot of consonants in my stash. Now, it did kind of soak the paint up a little bit, and I do want it to be a little bit brighter white, so I did go over mine with a second coat just to kind of make that white pop against the wood and the pink flowers we're going to be adding to the sign. So we can kind of set those aside, let those dry, and start working on this cute little sign. Isn't this so cute? It's already got some wood beads on the top. I'm going to kind of change that up a little bit, but I really like the wood slat sign. I think it's really pretty. It doesn't really have a frame or anything, so it's exactly what I was needing for this project. Now for the top, I'm just going to cut off the little tab, pull this out. I do want to use some wood beads on this, but maybe not this many, and I do want to add like a little bit of spring color to it as well. So I'm going to be using this soft pink color, and I use some of those little hot dog sticks from the Dollar Tree. They're nice and thick. You can pop the wood beads on there and they won't really spin around too much. And I'm just going to paint a total of 4 of them. I think that's going to be plenty to decorate the hanger of this sign. And this sign turned out so pretty. It was so easy to do. So again, I'm just going to do a total of 4. I think any more than that, it's going to be a little bit of overkill. I just wanted a little touch of pink up here to kind of match the pink flowers we're going to add to the sign. Now I do want to leave like the wood part wood, but I do want to add the pink flowers and kind of make it look like a floral background on it as well. And even though I really like the sign, they're not cut super well here in the ridges. So I just went in there with my finger sander and cleaned everything up and made it look really nice so that we could attach the stickers. And these are the little wall stickers from Dollar Tree. You get 6 to a package. It's this really nice soft pink flower, and kind of trying to figure out how I want to set it up. I want them to kind of be peeking in from the corners, maybe 2 of them. So I'm just going to go ahead and peel the sticker. Be very careful when you're peeling these off. They do like to rip a little bit. And like this. And don't worry about having like more of a sticker, because we can always cut this down to size. And I just make sure that there's nothing underneath of it. It goes down super flat, and just stick this to it. The sticker was plenty strong. I didn't have to add any kind of adhesive or Mod Podge or anything like that to the top of it. And then I want another one of the flowers kind of coming down from the opposite corner. So I'm just going to kind of line that up how I think it's going to look pretty. And that's why, you know, I'm going to have the floral background, but I'm also going to have a lot of that wood showing through like that. So I just smoothed that one down as well. And then I can just go in with some scissors, give it a quick trim to clean that off. And then I can sand it to get it like an exact fit on there. But scissors works a little bit better here, at least on the initial run of the stickers. You can get it pretty close to the edges of your sign. And that's one reason I did it on this sign instead of one of the framed signs from Dollar Tree, is because I can go straight up here to the edge, and it's easy to get a good finish back there. So again, I'm just going to sand the edges to take off any of the excess sticker. to give me a perfect fit, and it just gives me a really beautiful soft pink flower background that we can do our little hello spring word on. I know spring's not here yet, but you know what? I know a lot of you guys are cold. It'll be here soon, I promise. It's been pretty nice here in Florida. I can't complain. It's going to be like 86 in a couple of days, but it kind of keeps going back and forth. Like it'll be hot and then it'll be cool. And it can't seem to make up its mind, but we only get a few cool days a year, so I can't complain. And definitely never cold, so that's good. Now I just cut in between the different slats so that I could use my finger sander to kind of push the sticker down in the crack to kind of give it that texture look that the rest of the sign has, and that gave it a really cool effect. I'm also going to scratch the sticker up slightly with the sandpaper to distress it to kind of give it more of an aged look and less like a perfect sticker. That looks perfect, exactly what I was wanting. So now we can go ahead and start adding our words. So I'm just going to peel these off. These should be good and dry now. And I can't forget like the remaining part of my E. I had to do that on a previous DIY and it worked out perfectly. So I guess I probably don't use F's near as much as I use E. So that's a quick fix. And I want to kind of do it like on these two inner rows, Hello Spring. It fits really nicely on there. And then the flowers can just be on the top and the bottom sections. So I'm just starting in the center here to glue these on. You can kind of use your lines for reference for how high or low you're putting your letter. And then I just kind of space these out, just kind of whatever looks good to me. The hello had a little bit more room than the spring. The spring is a little bit tighter. But the I think, in the spring is nice and small, so it allowed me to fit everything in there. So I just glued both my pieces of my E together, kind of like that. And I did have a small crack in that. I do go back and add a little spackle to that here to kind of fill that in so you can't notice that. It really makes it look like an E. Just a tiny bit is all it's going to take. And then I can always just sand that down just to fill it up because it wasn't perfect. And then we can do the same thing here with spring. Again, I'm going to kind of start on the letters in the middle a little bit to make sure everything is centered. And I have to go a little bit tighter, but everything fit perfectly well here too. Since I already have that floral background on there, I'm not really going to add any more flowers or anything to this. I think this just turned out really sweet. I think I'm going to be displaying the spring sign in my kitchen. And for now, it's definitely going to match my Valentine's Day tier tray that I did with this theme. But I love the fact that I can just leave it up for the entire spring. Just cleaning up, I want to make sure I don't have any hot glue. That hot glue gun I use does squirt out a lot of hot glue, so it can be a little bit too much sometimes. And then I just sanded down my spackle there as well. Now we're going to add the beads that we painted pink. I just wanted to do like 2 on each side. So I left one side of the hanger attached, and then I can just reattach the other side once we add the beads back to it. And I'm glad I decided to paint them. I think it added another little fun element to this DIY. I'm just going to go ahead and tie a knot here on the twine and use my staple gun to re-staple that on. Quick and easy, a little bit of pink there on each side. It did make my hanger a little bit shorter, but I think it's still plenty large enough. And this is how it turned out, our little Hello Spring sign. This was one of my favorites from today. I just think it turned out so pretty and it looks so spring. Those little flower stickers from the Dollar Tree, they have lots of different sizes and styles. Lots of pink though. I think any of them would look really great. We're going to be using one of the larger ones in another DIY a little bit later today. Now this one's going to be quick and easy. I picked up a little spring gnome from the Dollar Tree in pink. It's already super cute, and I thought we could add flowers to it to make it a little spring gnome. Something small but give a little touch of spring to wherever you want to decorate it. And I think I might pair this like with the candle that I did. I think they go really cute together. So these are little paper flowers that I found at Dollar Tree. They come in like 3 different colors of pink. There's like a soft pink, a hot pink, like a medium pink. And they're all a little bit different, you know, than the shade on the hat. So I'm just kind of alternating colors and I am just hot gluing those to the hat. Basically, that is it. I don't really need to do anything else. I'm kind of like, you know, making it kind of random and trying to alternate the colors. And I'm really only going to put enough of them on there so that you can see it from the front, you can see it from the sides. I don't really need to do the back because you're not going to be able to see it back there. But if you were, you could totally do all over. I think this would be super cute like on a tier tray or something like that for spring as well. Just a quick, easy way to make this little spring gnome look even more spring. Isn't that so cute? And couldn't be any easier than that. This is how it turned out, our little spring flower gnome. I thought about painting his nose like a green color, but I decided not to because I wanted to keep that glossy sheen on it. It's really pretty already. So just a quick, easy DIY because some of these were a little time extensive today to complete, but that one was super easy. Hey guys, I wanted to take a quick moment to let you know about memberships on my channel. For $4.99 a month, you're going to get early ad-free access to my videos, and it's a quick, easy way for you to support me here on YouTube. All you have to do is hit the join button under this video. Okay, next DIY. I picked up some of this leaf wallpaper. I've never used this before at Dollar Tree. And then I also got some of these pink flower floral tiles. I actually got these at Target Dollar Spot. They were $5 for both of them. Honestly, when I bought them, I thought they were $3 for both of them because that is a little bit pricey, but they are pretty. I think the price on these have definitely went up because I know I've bought those for like $3 before, like a similar one. And then I picked up 2 pieces of craft wood from the Dollar Tree. I love this size because it works great to make like a larger sign. You can put them together. It's nice and thick. It's not bowed or anything like that. The only thing is it's a little rough sometimes, so I'm just going to give it a quick sand on some of the uneven edges. And then I'm just going to simply glue those together to make a square sign that we can kind of put all these pieces together. What I wanted to do was have like the leaf background with like a pink floral monogram. I thought that'd be kind of fun way to use those little floral tiles. So I just do a bead of hot glue on one of the little pieces of craft wood and put the 2 pieces together like that, nice and sturdy. And then we can decorate this. I thought this would be the perfect background because it's giving me like that soft green leaf background. And it is the perfect size here. All I have to do is kind of lay my sign here on the back of it, use an ink pen, and I can kind of just draw exactly where I need to cut. Easy peasy, and cover the back of it. No painting or anything like that involved. And it gave me a really nice, you know, leaf background, which I was kind of trying to do a lot of leaf projects and pink flower projects. So I thought the pink flowers would look really cute on there. So we're just going to peel and stick this wallpaper to the side, kind of lining it up, and it fit on there just perfectly. I do use my little finger sander here to get any tiny little slivers that might be, but I got it on there actually pretty good. I'm also going to use my sandpaper to rough it up. I do want it to look a little older and distressed and a little less perfect. Now I'm going to attach a hanger to this, but I'm not sure. I think I actually might use this as a leaning sign, but I always save these little hangers off the Dollar Tree signs that I use all the time in case I need them when I don't use them on the DIY I'm making. So I just saved one, and I'm just going to screw that hanger to the back of it if I choose to hang it. And as you can see, the pink floral tile is just about the same size, so I'm definitely going to have to cut that down a little bit. It's got like this great cage on the back, so I thought I would take advantage of that. Each row has flowers attached to it, so I'm kind of trying to map out like the center and then do the top. I wanted to do the monogram for our last name, which is a T, so that's going to be pretty easy. Just trying to make sure exactly how this was set up. And I try to do 3 rows of each. Then I'm just going to carefully snip the cage from the back, trying to make sure that I don't cut any of the flowers to cut my shape down. Now, my letter ended up being a little bit chunkier than I wanted, so I do cut it down a little bit more, but this is kind of initially where I started. I was trying to think of things I could do with this. I've used these kind of as backgrounds before, but I've never really kind of customized them like this, and I thought this would be fun. There is like an extra row there at the bottom that you saw that I cut off. That's not really attached to anything, so I just cut that off to kind of get it out of the way. And then we're going to cut the other side of the T down that I had just kind of marked out with a Sharpie. And I'm going to go ahead and cut my extra row of plastic off. That's not really attached to anything. They have that on all the sides, just to kind of make sure you can't see that from the front. That's when I was like, you know, it's a little chunkier than I want, so let's make it actually like a 2-row instead of a 3-row letter. So I just cut 1 row off, and then I'm going to cut 1 row off the top as well. And I also need to kind of cut 1 row off to even it out here, so everything lines up. Now, T is a pretty easy letter. I'm thinking like L. There's some letters that are definitely going to be easier than others to cut out with these floral tiles. But you can always do flowers and kind of do your own letter too. But I thought this would be a quick, easy way to do it since they're all attached together, right? So I want to display it that with like the leaves on the background, like that. I thought that the green was a little bit brighter than I wanted though. And so I thought I would just go ahead and distress it a little bit more to scratch it up. You could also, you know, distress with paint if you wanted. This is a quick, easy way to kind of scratch it up, kind of bring more of the white from the back through some of the leaves. And just make sure I clean up any of the dust from the paper. And just wanted a little bit of a softer background there for my little floral monogram. And I liked that effect so much that I wanted to rough it up a little bit more. I had to do it definitely now before I attach my letter. It'll be too late. And again, you could kind of distress it with white if you wanted yours to be a little bit. I just wanted it not to compete with my flower letter as much. I wanted my floral monogram to be able to stand out a little bit. So I'm just going to add hot glue to the back of the cage on the floral tile, kind of everywhere I could, and line that up and just stick that to my sign. Really fun idea for a little spring sign. Using those floral tiles from the dollar spot. And I think that turned out really cute. If you wanted to do your own, you could probably do like some poster board and kind of sketch out, you know, your letter and use like some small pink flowers from the Dollar Tree. They do have a flower that's very similar to this, and kind of just glue it on and kind of make your own if you wanted to do that. That would be pretty easy to do as well. But here it is, my little spring flower tea. It's definitely unique. I think it turned out kind of cool. Okay, next DIY. I want to DIY one of these little wood rounds from the Dollar Tree. Again, with some of those beautiful pink floral stickers from the Dollar Tree. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove my hanger. And I want to frame it out too. So I'm going to be framing it out with some of those cube wood beads from the Dollar Tree. I think these are so cool. And since they lay flat, they do a great job of like framing out projects like that from the Dollar Tree. So this is the color I'm going to use of acrylic paint. It's called Pink Polish. And as you can tell, I'm not going for maximum coverage on this. I actually just kind of want to stain it. So I'm not going to use too much paint, just enough to kind of give me a pink stain. After I put that on there, I just go over it with a wet baby wipe. And that way the wood grain of that sign shows through, so I'm not really covering that up. And it makes it look a little bit more older and vintage, which is definitely what I was going for on this project. I wanted to do a really pretty spring floral sign. So I just stained it, gave it a quick dry. It was a little bit rough, so I gave it a little bit of a sand to get some of that fuzziness off the wood. And then this is the flower sticker we're going to use. This is a very soft pink, which is one reason why I chose to stain the sign like kind of a little bit more of a candy pink, because I want it to be a little bit of a contrast, but definitely go with my pink floral theme that we've been using today. So I kind of like it going straight up and down like that. It's going to fit nicely. I'm going to carefully pull this off. I don't want to rip any of it. And peel and stick this to my sign. If you're going to stain or paint your sign, make sure it's good and dry. Otherwise, it's not going to stick very well. I just go ahead and flatten that out. As you can see, I kind of centered it on the wood ring. But then I'm going to leave like the wood cubes natural color like that. I thought that'd be a nice contrast against the soft pink shades. But I do want to make sure that it stays down. So I'm just going to sand it a little bit just to rough up again the sticker. I kind of like that distressed look. These don't sand as well as the other ones. They kind of do like a dotted aging, but it still kind of made it look old. But I do want to seal this project because I wasn't certain this was going to stay on there really well. So I just went over the top of all of it with some Mod Podge from the Dollar Tree and sealed this sign before we go in and frame it out with the wood beads. And then I thought it needed even a little bit more distressing, so then I just went in with just some white and like a chunky brush, and if I distressed a little bit too much on it, I would just go over it with a baby wipe, kind of blending it all together. Again, I was going very kind of like old school, like Victorian vibes with this spring DIY, so I definitely wanted it to look vintage. So I just keep kind of distressing. I kind of tried to distress it similar to the way the sticker distressed as well until I got the perfect level of distress. And then I'm going to add the wood bead garland to the front of it. Now they kind of wind this around so it doesn't fall off, but that also keeps the wood beads from moving side to side and it kind of makes it get in the way. I'm also going to reattach the hanger, but this time I'm going to go from the back to the front, tie a knot, cut off the little plastic part. That way it's going to hang flatter against my wall and it's not really going to be able to see the little hangers there on the front too much, just a small knot. So I do need to untangle this end to kind of make this work, and it's a little bit better to do this at the beginning so that all of your wood cubes are free flowing. You just kind of have to string that out, and I'm gonna need two to go around this entire wood round because even though these are super cute from the Dollar Tree, they're not super long. And I just go ahead and open at least one end of this one. I probably don't need the other end. And we can start gluing this on. What this is going to do is take this flat sign and make it so much chunkier. And it's just a really easy way to kind of provide a frame for an abnormal shape like this. Like something I'm definitely not going to be able to have a frame for. And I like the added depth. It really helps. So I'm just kind of doing like a quarter at a time and gluing all of my wood beads to it, but leaving them strung together because that's going to kind of help guide it, keep them all attached to each other. But I am trying to glue down every single one, just trying to make sure that I don't overlap the edges too much so I still get that perfect like circular shape. And this is about how far one package will go. So I'm just going to tie the twine to my next package. And I can just push my wood beads up that and continue going with the same pattern all the way around. And I do like the contrast of the natural wood. I'm going to be adding another accent that color too that kind of ties it all together. And I'm glad that I decided not to paint or stain this part of it because I think it turned out really cool. And actually fit perfectly here at the end. You never really know with spacing. And so I just glued that, tied both my strings together, making sure all the wood beads are then tied together. Now this is what I'm going to use to finish it off. This is a vase filler that I found at Target. It's back where the driftwood was at Target. And I have bad news about the driftwood. At least at my Target, they quit carrying it. I have no idea why. It's one of my favorite products in the vase fillers. But these little paper flowers are kind of cool. They're kind of like a paper, kind of like foamy feel. Not really sure what these are made out of. But I chose like a larger one and two small ones. And they're like the same color as the unfinished wood on the frame. So I thought this would tie it in nicely and give another little floral touch. And kind of a larger, more substantial piece as well to make it thicker. So I'm just going to start here with the larger flower, gluing that down, and then glue a smaller flower on each side, just kind of making it kind of over here on the bottom right to kind of give it kind of a wreath feel there as well. And this is how it turned out. I think it's really sweet and romantic looking. Our little pink floral wall hanging for spring. It definitely has that aged look that I was going for. And I'm a big fan of those flowers from Target. I think they're so pretty. And they add another little fun spring element to this DIY side. Just an idea of something that you can do with those little floral stickers from the Dollar Tree. They're really fun to craft with. Okay, the next DIY, I picked up some soft pink roses from the Dollar Tree, some more lamb's ear, and a little vase from the Dollar Tree as well. I thought we could make it a little bit better than just the clear glass vase though, so I'm actually going to show you how easy it is to frost glass. I'm going to go ahead and clean it up, and we're going to be using that Rust-Oleum frosted glass spray paint. I think I actually picked this up at Amazon, but I know I've seen it at Walmart before. I'll try to see if I have this linked in my shop. I'm pretty sure I got this on Amazon. And it just goes on like spray paint. It's so easy to do. So I just went ahead and put my glass in my box again to kind of prevent overspray. I'm going to try to do this without getting anything on my camera. I hope. So I just went over the bottom, went over all of it with one coat, and then went in with my heat gun to dry it. As you can see, as it dries, it gets that beautiful like frosted finish, which is just going to make it look so much more high-end. You're not going to be able to see the stems in there from the Dollar Tree, which kind of look a little bit cheaper on Dollar Tree florals. And I had pretty good coverage. There was one side that wasn't near as frosted as the other, so I am going to touch up that side with another coat just to make sure that I had even coverage. But again, really easy to do, and one coat's really all you need. I probably didn't get the back of it as good as I needed, so I just kind of spray painted another little layer of that, and that looks really good. I'm going to just kind of sand off whatever was dripped on the top so it'll give it a nice clean look, but I love the frosted look. What do you guys think about that? Now these are the florals we're going to use again. I picked up 2 bunches of the pink roses. I don't like the greenery on them though. I think that looks really cheap. So what I'm doing is just pulling my roses off and pulling off the tags and all of the leaves on here, just leaving the pink roses. I'm going to try to replace all the greenery with actually some of the Dollar Tree lamb's ear so I can still have like that soft pink and light green like fuzzy leaf thing that we've been doing today on kind of the vibe for these DIYs, and I think it turned out really pretty. As you can see, that lamb's ear just looks so much better than these green leaves on the roses for sure. So I'm going to need both of this for sure because I want it to be a nice tall like full floral arrangement. So I'm going to cut one of them off, like two, there's little notches on there, so two notches to kind of make a shorter bundle. And then the other one, I'm only going to cut one off. This is going to be kind of my longer part that can be sticking up a little bit higher. And I just cut my wires down with some of those floral scissors from the Dollar Tree, where I can kind of put them all together like that. It's going to give me a really nice spring bouquet. And then for the lamb's ear, I picked up these kind of longer ones that have like two branches on them. And I'm just going to cut the two branches off. They're going to be like, one's going to be a little bit longer than the other, but again, perfect lengths for what I'm using for this DIY. And since I frosted the glass, you're not really going to be able to see the stems inside. And I don't really have to put anything in there because it's all going to kind of just sit nicely down there. So I'm just kind of grouping them all together. I did the shorter flowers first with all of the new greenery. And then I can go in there with my taller flowers right from the top and put those down inside. And then it's just a matter of kind of arranging them, making sure that the leaves and the flowers look symmetrical, look their very best. And I'm so glad I decided to replace the greenery in these because these soft colors are definitely my vibe for the spring for sure. I thought about adding something to the vase, but I kind of like the simplicity of it. And I think this is so pretty for spring. This is how mine turned out. And I really love that frosted technique. It just really takes that cheap $1.25 vase and makes it look way more high end. What do you guys think? I think it turned out really beautiful. Okay, now sticking with this spring, we're going to switch it up and do spring fairy gardens. I have 7 spring fairy garden DIYs. So for the first 2 fairy gardens, we are going to be making indoor fairy gardens using these little signs from the Dollar Tree. I chose these because they have a pretty thick frame on them, and 2 square ones are going to look perfectly. I can do 2 fairy gardens and can have it like a path between the 2. So the first step is I'm just going to fill the hole in the frame with a little bit of spackle. The only thing I don't like about these Dollar Tree signs is that the frame is like an unfinished like MDF wood, and so it doesn't look very nice. So I'm going to paint mine. Another option is you could cover it with moss or something like that. That would be fun too. But I picked up a whole bunch of the new fairy garden items from Dollar Tree and things that I thought would look cute with my spring decor. So the color I'm going to paint mine is this. It's pink polish. And I've been using a lot of pink with my spring decor. And I'm going to use a lot of pink on these 2 fairy gardens. So I thought that would look nice together. It doesn't have to be perfect. And it does soak up a lot of the paint, but I'm just going to use a paintbrush and paint like the very outside and the top of the frame. I don't really have to protect the surface on the bottom or anything like that from getting paint on it because it's going to be all covered with fairy garden stuff. And the frame is just going to provide a great border to kind of keep everything in. I'm actually making these 2 fairy gardens for my dining room. I have a little bit of spring decor from my spring DIY video, and I wanted a little bit more to finish out my cabinet in my dining room. So I have my entryway all decorated for St. Patrick's Day. If you haven't checked out my videos, I have 4 St. Patrick's Day DIY videos this year. And that is the first one. I just did 1 coat on the very outside. I did go over the very top with like another color or another coat of pink just to kind of brighten it up and make it look a little bit better. And I would suggest definitely painting the frames on those. Now you can be creative on these. You can use anything really with a frame. If you have a piece that you think would work and it doesn't have a frame, you could always like glue the moss and stuff around the edges to kind of provide a little bit of a frame if you're doing an indoor one like this. Today we're going to be doing indoor fairy gardens. We're going to get really creative with different ways to display fairy gardens, and we're going to be doing outdoor fairy gardens as well. So lots of fun ideas for you today. And so I just did the same thing here with the second frame, painting it with that pink polish color. I found some really great pieces from the Dollar Tree in the fairy garden section. I went to like two Dollar Trees yesterday to kind of see what I could find, and I was pleasantly surprised with all the cute stuff they have. I love the fairy garden stuff like the beach line. I use that a lot in my coastal DIYs, but I don't normally use the regular fairy garden stuff except for in spring. I really love it. Check out this tree I got. It has like pink flowers all over the top. Really cute for $1.25. It's actually painted really nice too. It's got a little butterfly on the front. I thought that would make a really large piece for one of these. I thought that'd be really cute. And I think I'm going to do it over here. I'm actually going to be gluing my pieces down today so that they won't fall over when I move them around, but that's totally optional. I also found this large piece that I thought would coordinate nicely. It is a tree with the pink flowers, and it's got like a little fairy in a swing, and she's swinging. And it actually sits really nice and everything. I thought that would be really cute to do the other one. I want them to be different, but I want them to complete like a scene. And you could even, if you had space, you could even do like 3 of these. I'm going to kind of show you how I put it all together. It turned out so cute. So just trying to kind of figure out exactly where I want those. I also found the little pond with the frog in it, which is so cute. I was thinking about trying to make like a fake pond with like acrylic or paint or something like this, but using these pre-made items from the fairy garden makes everything so easy, and it is so cute. This other little guy's in a boat, so I don't really have anywhere to put him, so I think I'll just use the pond. And I kind of want that towards the front just because it's a little bit of a shorter piece. And time to keep decorating. I want to do about 5 or 6 pieces in each one of these and kind of lay it out like a little scene. So this is a little garden bench. It's super cute as well. It's got a pink flower on it. Some of these also, like this one also has a little bush that I'm going to use like a little bit later on in another DIY. But I thought this was a really cute little bench that we could create a little scene. It's a great source of miniature items for sure if you want to like decorate miniature stuff. Sometimes I do use the fairy garden stuff for tier trays if it's large enough, like, you know, that tree and the bench and the pond and stuff like that. I thought that the bench would be really cute, like overlooking a pond. We could do like a meadow scene over here with the little fairy swinging in the tree. And then we could do like the house setting on the other side. I also found these great little fairy garden bird baths. They're so cute. They have like flower tops. Aren't these so cute? So I'm going to choose the pink one because I'm kind of going with that pink theme. And it's got like a little ladybug on it too, which is super cute. And I think I'm going to use that over on the right fairy garden. Kind of more for like the house. So I've got like the meadow, and then we've got like the little fairy home, and we're going to kind of make it all work together. Now this piece, I could not find the bridge. I thought that fairy garden had a bridge, but I couldn't find it. All I could find was this pathway, but I thought I could make that work as a bridge to connect the two fairy gardens together. And it actually worked out pretty well. So I think there is a bridge. I looked at like maybe 3 different Dollar Trees and I couldn't find it, so I went with the path. There's also a little welcome sign that came with that. That looks really cute. It looks like a little like tree wood with like a little welcome sign in there. So I thought that'd be cute here at the front of the house. And it's just kind of seeing what you can find and how you can make it kind of all work together. These pieces were like a little bit larger. They're super cute. There's like this like little live, laugh, love made out of leaves, which is cute. That package also has like a welcome sign in it and like a little lamp post. So it's kind of like playing around with it, kind of like a tier tray, kind of seeing what looks cute to make a scene. There's like a little welcome arrow sign, which is super cute. And again, it's just a matter of kind of playing with it, putting it there, seeing how you like it. Once I get everything laid out exactly the way I want it, we'll glue everything down and then we'll decorate this some more. I wasn't too sure about the lamppost just because it's not painted super well, but I think we can probably use it somewhere. Like maybe over here in the home scene. It's just kind of trying to lay it out in a way that makes sense. I want to have pathways and different stuff like that. They're there too. Now I thought these were cute too. They're a little on the smaller size, but they're like little birds on posts. There's a really cute little wood welcome sign. And I wanted to use a lot of pieces to kind of make it look nice and full. So I thought maybe we could do like the little bird on the post over here, like in the meadow. This cute little welcome sign would look cute next to that little tree house over here. So it's again just a matter of kind of arranging them. And I love how this turned out. It is so fun to DIY. And this would be a great project if you have little ones around that want to get involved. So much creativity. And then finally for the fairies. Now, be careful when you buy these because I went through a couple packages. This packages looked less destroyed, but one of my fairies did still have a broken wing. That one there on the left. I'm going to choose this fairy because she has like a pink dress on. I'll kind of go with the decor. And she's reading a book, and I thought, oh, I'll have her hang out over here on this fairy garden because I already have a fairy on the other one, like swinging in the swing. So again, I have them all kind of set. It's just kind of figuring out what's going to make sense. I want a path to come from the front to kind of go to the house. And I want a path to go over to the meadow, to the bench and stuff like that to look at the pond. And I think that looks pretty good. That kind of makes sense. For the grass, I'm going to be using reindeer moss from the Dollar Tree. When you buy this, I do recommend trying to make sure you find one that's kind of wet. It works a lot better today. I used some that wasn't like kind of dried out, and I had to wet it a lot, and it was kind of not very... it didn't look great. I thought you could kind of re-wet them a little bit better than, I don't know, I soaked it and it was really dried out. So I put a little reindeer moss over here in the corner, and then I just hot glue down my cute little swing. And I'm just going to sit the moss in there. Since I have the frame, it all sits in there rather nicely. You can kind of push it down to kind of make it look like a grassy meadow. And there's also, kind of different colors of green. I kind of like, this is one of my favorite colors of the reindeer moss, but sometimes at Dollar Tree, it's kind of whatever you can find. I glued that little live, laugh, love leaf sign down there and then kind of finished out this part of the meadow. And we are going to decorate it more with all kinds of like little spring things. That's going to make it look like a spring meadow. I'm also going to glue down my little bird on my post and my bench. And while I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and do the pond and the other little bird here in the front. And then I'm going to continue putting moss everywhere, even like under the bench and stuff like that. Anywhere where you can kind of see the wood come through, I'm going to try to fill that in with moss. Now for the path, I thought I would use a different color of moss. I was able to find this floral moss at the Dollar Tree, and it's a little bit more of a brown color. So I thought that would make a really good meadow path. You can also use potting soil for this, and we will be using potting soil for the other side, the other fairy garden right there. And as you can see, I kind of went from the bridge all the way to the bench with that floral moss. And using more than one color like that can really add a little bit of variety. And then I'm going to finish off the rest of it with some more reindeer moss. Again, trying to make sure it's as full as it can be. I want my path to go all the way to the bench, all the way in front of it. And then we can start filling in the other fairy garden over here with moss as well. I just kind of finishing off my layout. I had trouble figuring out where I was going to put the little light post, but I decided to put it back here in the back. And our little fairy reading a book can be right about here. Her little flower house with her welcome sign. And again, I'm only hot gluing my stuff down because I want to be able to move it around without everything tipping over or falling over. This is going to be an indoor one, but you could also do this one as an outdoor one too, depending on what you put it in. Now here is some more reindeer moss. I'm going to start spreading that around. On this one, I'm going to do like a mossy meadow everywhere, but I am also going to have a path to go over to the pond and stuff like that. And I'm also going to have a path that goes to the house. So I'm not going to need as much reindeer moss on this side, but I do want like the backyard and the front yard mostly to be covered in it. I like to kind of break it apart into smaller pieces and kind of push it down to kind of make it look like a grassy field. I don't want it to be super tall, just about the same as like the border of the frame of the picture frame. So again, I'm going to use some of that brown floral moss for this path. That's going to go over to like the little meadow there, make a little scene. And I left a path with no moss so that I could fill it up with soil. So I was also able to find potting soil at the Dollar Tree, which is a great find. And I'm going to go ahead and just start spooning or cupping some of this in here. I don't want to make too big of a mess with the potting soil, but I just want enough that I can create a little path. Now for the bridge, I'm also going to glue it down, but I'm only going to glue it to one side. That way I can move the two different fairy gardens independently, but I don't really want it to be falling off. So I just glued it to the frame itself. And then for the path going up to the house, I'm going to use some of the little wood slices from the Dollar Tree. They're just little cut pieces of wood, and they work great for little tiny stepping stones. And so I'm going to kind of push those down into the potting soil over here to provide a perfect little fairy garden path. That is a great use for those. And then check out the mushrooms they have in the Easter section this year. I believe these are new this year. I've never seen them. They come in pastel colors and they're so cute. They're little foam mushrooms. They come in two different sizes. These are the mini ones. So at first I'm going to start with the pink with the white spots. I'm cutting the wire but leaving it on about an inch or so I can kind of hook it and push it down into the moss. And that's going to help it stand up. You can see it through the moss and everything like that. It makes it tall enough. And the hook kind of keeps it in place. So I'm just going to scatter little pink mushrooms around. I wanted to use the pink ones because, of course, I'm going with the pink theme for this section of my kitchen with my spring. And then finding small flowers at the Dollar Tree. Sometimes it can be a little difficult. These are called spike, and they have these little tiny white flowers that are pretty small. I always wish that Dollar Tree had a smaller flower variety because I do struggle finding flowers small enough there to use on little miniature projects like this. But I scattered around some white, and then for soft pink, this is called baby's breath. And they're pretty small too. So I'm going to just kind of scatter those around too. These are like, they don't really have a flower center. They have little tabs on there to keep everything together. And some of mine were not doubled up. So make sure they're doubled up. They look a lot better when there's like two flowers, one on top of each other. So I scattered some soft pink around. And then I also found like a brighter pink of the baby's breath at the Dollar Tree. And I'm just cutting off like like a ½ inch to an inch of the stem and just pushing that down into the moss. And it'll help it stand up. I also found the little mushrooms from the Easter aisle in lavender. And so I thought that would go nicely with the pink. So I'm going to use some of the smaller ones on those as well. And I'm just cutting the wire. The wire is pretty easy to cut, about an inch, hooking it. I'm going to scatter those around kind of next to my pink ones to provide a little bit of variety in color and just a little bit more decor. And this is how it turned out, my 2 indoor spring fairy gardens. This is the meadow over there with the little fairy in the swing. The little path to the bench overlooking like a little pond with a frog in it. It's super cute. And then you can take the little bridge over to the little fairy garden house. We have the little pink flower house with a little fairy reading a book over in the corner, little bird bath in front, cute little path, and you can just get really creative with your fairy gardens. I love how these turn together, and it was a great way to bring a spring fairy garden indoor for indoor decor, and I love decorating for spring. It's so fun. If you're enjoying today's video so far, be sure to hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. We're trying to get to 30,000 subscribers. Okay, for the next indoor fairy garden, I'm going to show you how to make a fairy garden on a much smaller scale. I picked up this Dollar Tree picture frame. It's got butterflies in it. It's really cute. Check out this frame. It's nice and high, and the wood is really nice looking, and so it doesn't need much. Perfect little base for an indoor fairy garden. I thought I would use another one of these little swings. This one's got a gnome in it, so this one's going to be a little bit more whimsical with a gnome instead of a fairy. But the same little pink tree and the little swing, so cute. You don't have to do anything to it. I'm just going to kind of put mine over to the side like that. And then this is one of the little flower bird baths from the fairy garden section, and with like a lavender flower on top. This is not going to be a very big one, so it's not going to need a lot of pieces. This is another little fairy garden package that I found. It's got like the spigot, a welcome sign, and like a little frog like on a leaf. Super cute. So I'm trying to figure out what would look nice. I'm thinking like the welcome sign and then the little gnome in the swing. And I think that's going to be enough. We can fill the rest of it out with grass and flowers and stuff like that to do a smaller little fairy garden that you could put really anywhere. And again, if you wanted to modify any of these ideas for outdoor ones, you totally could, but we're starting with indoor ones. So I'm going to go ahead and hot glue all of mine down just because I don't want them falling around. This is kind of the setup so far. The gnome swinging in the tree, the bird bath, and a little welcome sign in the front. So again, we're going to be using reindeer moss. This one's kind of like a more green. I always try to save this if I have any extra. So I have lots of different colors and stuff, trying to make it all kind of work together. I'm going to have a path in this one as well, so I'm kind of leaving an area there without any of the reindeer moss. But again, I want it to look like a spring meadow and super cute. For the path, I'm going to be using potting soil again. So I'm going to kind of just scoop some in there in the path. Very easy to do. With the sides, you don't really have to worry about making a mess or anything when you go to display it. I could kind of still see a little bit of the butterfly print underneath of it. So I did have to make sure that, you know, my moss was pretty thick and kind of covered everything up. Now for the path, I love the look of the little stepping stones made out of the wood slices. So I'm going to use a couple of the little wood slices from the Dollar Tree. And I just kind of push them down until I kind of hit the frame. Like that, having like the soil go around them. And we can have like a little path going through this fairy garden. Can't do too much with it because it's such a smaller scale. And then I love the look of the little mushrooms. Now these are the larger ones that came in the package, the little pink and white spotted ones. So again, I'm just going to cut the wire and kind of hook it, standing those up in the moss. They also come in the lavender, of course, and I'm going to use the larger ones for this one too. I used the smaller ones on the earlier fairy gardens, and I'm going to kind of scatter those around. Those work great for fairy gardens, and I'm so glad I found those. For flowers, again, I'm going to be using the little spike white flowers. Those work great because you just kind of have to pull them off. The baby sprouts you kind of have to cut off because they are just attached to the stem itself. So again, I'm going to do like the whites and the pinks. I think that looks so cute for spring. I do like a couple different colors of pink kind of together, but I don't want to overload this fairy garden because it's a little bit smaller. And I think that is just about the right amount of decor. This is how it turned out. Our little spring fairy garden with a little gnome in the swing. I think it turned out really sweet, and it was so easy to put together. And a little bit different vibe than the fairies with the little gnome. Very whimsical. Hey guys, I wanted to take a quick moment out of today's video and let you know about my Facebook group. I always have it linked below. You can find out what everybody else has been DIYing. I'm also really active on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest, and my handle is Crafty Beach on YouTube, and I would love to see you over there. Okay, back to the DIYs. I decided to get really creative, and I thought, why can't I do like a vertical fairy garden that you can hang on the wall? So I'm going to use one of the little wood slice signs from the Dollar Tree for that. I thought that looked fairy garden-esque because it looks like a slice of wood. The hanger is kind of long on mine, but I'm going to kind of go with it. I just kind of trimmed off some of the fraying. For the sky, I'm going to use this cloudless acrylic. I get this on Amazon, and I do have it linked in my shop below. It's only like 50 or 60 cents, and you can get it shipped free with Prime. So, love that color. And I just used a sponge, and I just did a very light stain for the sky. Now, for the items, I was trying to think of things that were kind of flat that I could use on it since we're doing a vertical fairy garden. And I thought this welcome sign that comes with the bridge would be perfect for it because it's kind of flat. It's kind of got a back to the sign like that where I can glue it to it. And then I'm going to use one of the fairies that came in the fairy pack. She's super cute. We can stand her over here. She's kind of doing the Home Alone face thing. The little spigot that came in the garden pack. We can put that on there. That's kind of flat. I'm definitely looking for things that are not too bulky. And then the little bush with the flowers that we had left over from earlier from one of the fairy garden packages. And it's just a matter of kind of lining them up. I think 4 items is going to be plenty. And I just kind of have to decide exactly how I want them on there. Since I am definitely hanging it on the wall, I definitely have to glue these guys down. So I just do a bead of hot glue along the back. So I'm going to glue like the spigot here. And then we're going to be doing like the moss and the flowers and stuff along the bottom. So I thought this was a really creative way to bring a fairy garden to the wall. So I'm going to glue my fairy down next. I don't want it to be like too evenly spaced out. I want it to be kind of random. So I'm going to do my welcome sign next. That was probably the heaviest piece. So I'm going to make sure to glue that down well. But definitely you're going to have to be careful what kind of pieces you're going to use if you're going to do a vertical fairy garden like this. Now for the grass, we're going to be using the reindeer moss again. I'm going to kind of leave it more clumped this time. That's going to kind of work well for this. And I'm going to glue it down to provide the grass for the bottom of the fairy garden. And since I'm leaving it in a big clump like that, like one piece can kind of cover like a whole lot. I do make sure to glue it all securely down though, so that it doesn't fall off. Another clump right here, and I'm going to kind of continue that across until it's full. I'm trying to make sure you can't see any of the wood through it, that it's going to look like a solid surface for the bottom. And I'm so glad I had this idea because I think this turned out so cute. And a very creative way to do a fairy garden for indoors. But you know what? You could hang this outdoors as well, too, if you had like a porch or something like that. And a perfect place to hang it. I'm going to go ahead and glue a little bit more. I had a few areas that looked a little bit thinner. And I want it to be thick enough to go under like the base of the signs and stuff like that. So they're like not like completely suspended out there over nothing. That looks pretty good. And now we can decorate our little meadow with flowers. I'm going to be using the white flowers here from the spike. And since it's a wall decor, I am going to glue them in instead of just sitting them in there to make sure that they stay nicely. I'm going to do like one of the pink baby's breath. We'll glue that into the moss right over here. And again, I don't want to overwhelm it too much with decorations. I want it to look like a simple little fairy garden. And then I thought a few mushrooms would be cute. I was also able to find the little mushrooms in this blue color. So I'm kind of going a little bit more colorful with this one. These are the very tiny ones, and I'm going to cut the wire and attach that as well to provide another little decor piece. It's looking really cute. I thought the sky looked a little bit plain, just being a solid blue. And so I am going to decorate that a little bit with just a white paint pen. Doing clouds is super easy. I'm just using my Posca paint pen, and I'm just basically like painting circles, kind of putting them all together, kind of like more like oval shapes. And we're just going to scatter a few clouds here across the top of the sky just to provide a little bit more fun. Nothing crazy, just like 3 clouds across the sky. And this is how it turned out, our little hanging fairy garden. I think it's so cute. I thought the hanger looked a little plain, so I decided to add a little color to that with some of this spring ribbon from the Dollar Tree. This is like the pink with the white flowers on it. And I'm just going to tie that to the very top of my hanger. And I'm going to tie a very simple little bow here on the top, just to provide like a little pop of color up there and give it a little spring fun as well. So it's just a matter of trying to tie this evenly, get a few tails that aren't too long, and kind of trim those up. Just a little pop of color up there, and I'm glad I added that because I think it really made it look cute here in the end. So there is the final result of our hanging fairy garden. And this is how it looks hanging in my home. I love it. I think it's very whimsical, and I've never seen anybody do one like this, so hopefully a creative idea for you guys with your spring fairy gardens. Very cute. You could also use like the oval wood slices and stuff like that they have from the Dollar Tree. Now for the next fairy garden, we're going to be making it in one of these little terrarium planters from the Dollar Tree. So you could make this a hanging one if you wanted. You could hang it from the top. I'm going to have mine be standing, but I thought it'd be a perfect home for one of these larger fairies from the fairy garden. She is like sitting like on a log, and I thought she'd be the perfect piece to add to that little terrarium. Not so sure about the other little flower on the log. I don't think that's really going to work. I think one major piece will work good in here, and then we can decorate the rest of it to look like a little fairy garden. And now she kind of sat a little low. I didn't know if you'd be able to see her too well, so I decided to boost her up with one of those little wood stems from the Dollar Tree. But it would probably work without, but I have these handy, so I'm going to go ahead and glue one of the wood stems down, wood slices down, and then I'm going to attach her like right on top. I thought that looked good. You could see her really well like that. So I'm going to then hot glue the fairy to the base. And you can see her really nicely through the opening in the front of the terrarium. This one was such an easy little terrarium to put together, and it turned out so cute. Now I decided I didn't really have room for any of the larger pieces, so we're going to go ahead and straight into the moss for the meadow. And I'm just going to kind of fill in the area around her. You know, it's a spherical surface, but just kind of anywhere where I think that there would be grass, I'm going to put some of that reindeer moss. And just kind of fill it in. And then we can decorate the meadow for the fairy garden and give it that fairy garden look. This is a great way to add a little spring fairy garden vibe if you only have a small amount of space to decorate. And you could sit this anywhere, like kitchens, bathrooms, wherever. It's kind of all self-enclosed. Now to decorate it, I'm going to use some of the lavender foam mushrooms from the Easter aisle. And we're going to use the tiny ones because this is kind of a small scale one. And again, I'm just cutting like about 1 inch of wire, kind of hooking it and putting that down into the moss to make it stand up. For pink flowers, I'm going to use like the hot pink baby's breath from the Dollar Tree. Cut one of those. We'll do like the soft pink baby's breath as well. Just cutting that stem off and putting one of those here in the front. Now to display it, I'm going to use one of these glass candle holders from the Dollar Tree. I thought this would look nice. It's going to boost it up, kind of make it look like it's on a pedestal. Again, you could hang it if you had a place to hang that. It'd be look cute hanging on a porch as well. And I'm going to use a combination of the E6000 and a little bit of hot glue, just because glass is a little bit harder to hot glue for a permanent bond. And I'm going to just go ahead and sit that right on top, trying to let my glue set up a little bit. Now to add a little color to the top, I'm going to use some of that spring ribbon from the Dollar Tree, the pink with the white flowers, and I just thread that through the top and just a simple knot. I'm going to let like the ribbon kind of hang down, kind of cascade down the sides of the terrarium. And I just want like the white flower to be up. I just trim the sides, no crazy bow or anything like that. I just wanted a little pop of color and texture on the top of this little fairy garden. And this is how she turned out. I think she's so cute. And how easy was that to put together? Very simple. You could definitely make this in under 5 minutes. And I really love those glass candle holders like that from the Dollar Tree. They work great for kind of boosting projects up like this and making them look a little bit more substantial. Hey guys, I wanted to take a quick moment out of today's video and let you know about memberships. For $4.99 a month, you can get early ad-free access to my videos, and it's a quick, easy way for you to support me here on YouTube, so be sure to find that join button under today's video. Okay, for the next fairy garden, we're doing an outdoor fairy garden. So I picked up one of these planter trolleys from Dollar Tree. They have these in several different colors, tan, green, and like terracotta, I believe. Since this is going to be an outdoor fairy garden, it does need to have drainage, and there's no holes in this. So in these little inset areas, I'm just using my drill to pop some holes in here so that it will drain and this fairy garden won't be holding any water or anything like that. I wanted to do like a whimsical fairy garden that I could put out in my landscaping. And the really fun thing about doing an outdoor fairy garden, I know in my garden, is that I find things living in it like frogs, sometimes nasty things like slugs, but I even had a snail living in one of mine. One time I thought that was really cute. And so I'm going to start it off with potting soil. And look at my potting soil from the Dollar Tree. It had a plastic bottle cap in it. Kind of weird. But I'm going to kind of just break it up, scatter that around. This is going to provide a base for my fairy garden. And I'm going to use some of that in the decor as well. I don't fill it in too much, just about maybe about halfway. But I love the flat saucer like look of this. It makes a perfect fairy garden. For the house, I found this great mushroom house. It's so cute. Kind of reminds me of like a Smurf mushroom house with the orange mushroom with the white spots on it. Super cute. And then I was able to find some other like mushroom items that were like on the larger scale. So this one's like got purple, green, and orange like toadstools. Aren't these so cute? And I thought we could kind of line the path to the little mushroom house with like some giant mushrooms. I did pick this package up in 2 different colors for a little variety. These are more like orange and yellow, a little bit different shaped mushrooms, but again, on the larger size. And I'm going to put a couple of these over here. I noticed that most of them were like orange or red. The green and the purple kind of stood out a little bit. So I think I'll save those for another project and just kind of go with like the orange and red colors for this fairy garden. Just kind of arranging them randomly like that, the different kinds of toadstools. And then I even found like a mushroom welcome sign. This one's got like 2 mushrooms and a little wood welcome sign. I thought that would be really cute. We could put that here like leading to the little mushroom house and kind of pointing that direction to go down the path. Now for the path, you could just use stepping stones like we've been using, but I decided to use one of the little garden paths from the fairy garden for this one. This one's a little different than the one I used as the bridge earlier. It is like more red than wood, but I think either one would look cute. Since I'm doing an orange and red theme, I thought the red path would look cute. So we're going to have that lead up directly to the house. It's not quite long enough, but we can always use stepping stones in addition to that. Now for the grass part, we're going to use reindeer moss again. And I'm just kind of breaking that up, spreading that around the very back of the house, kind of like a little backyard. And then we'll use the little wood slices here to kind of finish off our path right here in the front. And again, the great thing about fairy gardens is that you can get so creative. It's just kind of finding things that are miniature enough to be used for a fairy garden. And I like the idea of doing an outdoor fairy garden in a pot like this because it's easier to kind of clean up and to move around if you're doing landscaping and stuff like that. So again, this was the moss that was dry that I had to wet. As you can see, it's just not quite as great, but I kind of scattered that around. Hopefully being outside with this Florida humidity will kind of make that look a little bit better. Here is another one of the little bird baths. This one has the yellow flower. I thought that color would go nice with like the red and the oranges we've been using. And a little bit more reindeer moss to kind of fill things in. And then for flowers, I thought it would be fun to bring in a little yellow. I found these flowers at Dollar Tree. They're kind of like a star-shaped flower, but again, on the smaller size or smaller scale. And these are great, like the white spike ones. You can just kind of like pop these off. And I'm going to kind of scatter those about for a little flowers. And then since I'm doing like a red, orange, yellow kind of theme, I don't really want to do any pink. So I thought I'd bring in some whites. If you leave the spikes together, it's kind of cool. So I thought that looked good all together. I didn't really like the white like berry stuff at the top though. I thought that was a little too much. So I just trimmed that off and kind of put that one right over here. And I'm just kind of pushing everything down in there. Again, this is going to be an outdoor one. And so things are kind of move around, but you can kind of rearrange it as needed. I did another one of the white spike flowers trimmed down over here on the other side. And I liked those all together because it provided a little bit of height. Making sure my mushrooms are standing up nicely, kind of buried down into the soil and the moss a little bit, but also so you can still kind of see it. And this is how it turned out. My little fairy garden, my outdoor fairy garden that I can put out in my landscaping. And I think it turned out really cute. I really like that tan color of the planter. It's not too overbearing like the other colors might be, but I think it turned out really cute. What do you guys think about this? Using the little wheeled one like this gives you that flat saucer-like appearance, which works great. Now, you can use just about anything for a fairy garden. I'm going to show you how I use this little seagrass mini tier tray from the Target dollar spot for a fairy garden. I'm going to make the bottom of mine look like a fairy garden. I thought that'd be fun for a cute little spring tier tray. So I'm going to take some reindeer moss and just scatter that around the bottom tier. I love this tier tray. I picked this up at Target dollar spot last year for $5. I think they bring these back from time to time. Keep your eye open for these. These are so cute. And just the right size for a small tier tray. And again, I'm going to use some of the spring items from the Dollar Tree. This is the like large mushroom. I kind of like the green color. I think that's really cute. I kind of want to make it look like a little fairy house though. So I'm just going to paint like a little door on it. Nothing crazy. Just like a little rounded top door. And I'm going to do pink to make it look nice and springy. So I just used a pink paint pen and just drew a little door on to the front. I thought that the green color on the top of the mushroom was really nice. So I'm going to leave that color. And then I'm going to kind of outline it here with just a white paint pen. Kind of clean it up a little bit. Give a little border around my door. And then I can also use that to do like a little fairy doorknob on the front. I'm not going to do any windows or anything like that. I just wanted something simple, kind of like a little door. And this is the perfect size little fairy garden house. You could also use one of the little mushroom houses that are already kind of a fairy garden decor. But I kind of wanted to use this one. I thought it was cute. So I'm going to kind of nestle that in the moss here at the bottom of my tier tray. And if you had like a flat basket tray or anything like that, you could also do a fairy garden in it. It would be really cute. I love this little bench. So I bought another one of these. This is the little wood bench with the pink flower on it. We're going to sit that over here in our little fairy garden there at the bottom. And then I found these. I thought these were so cute, little stepping stones with words on them. Aren't these so cute? They say different things like love garden, sweet home, enjoy time. I'm going to do the love garden and kind of like lay one here towards the front of my little fairy garden. I'm going to decorate the top of it with some really cute items I found at the Target dollar spot this year in their spring stuff. But the bottom is definitely a little fairy garden. For the path, I used the floral moss from the Dollar Tree just because it's a little bit more brown. I don't really want to be doing any soil or anything like that in my nice little tier tray. I don't want it to stain it. For flowers, I'm going to use some of the pink baby's breath. Just cutting those down and kind of nestling those into the reindeer moss. I know it's a little hard to see here at this angle, but I will show you how everything kind of came together. I'm also going to scatter some of the lighter pink baby's breath around like that. And there is our little fairy garden scene down there. Really easy to put together. I thought a few mushrooms would be cute too, so I have some of the larger pink and white mushrooms. And since I'm doing a lot of pink on this one, I thought I would scatter a few of those as well. Hooking the wire and putting those down into the reindeer moss. I think that's plenty. Now check out these great items I found at the Target dollar spot this year. They're only $1. They have these little like mint green garden boots, which are so cute. And just the right size for a small tier tray like this. I'm going to put that on the very top. And they have these little watering cans, so cute. Dollar Tree has something similar on a stake that you can take off, but these are kind of ready to go. This one's a little bit smaller too. And again, only $1, so cheaper than the Dollar Tree. I didn't really care for the green and white gingham bow on there, so I just pulled mine off. And I'm going to sit that next to my little garden boots over here. And then for the final item, they have these little flower pots for $1 at the spring section at Dollar Tree. And so cute. Some little white and yellow flowers to finish off the top of the tier tray. I thought about putting a little moss on the top too, but I decided I didn't really need it. And so this is how it turned out. My little spring tier tray, that's also a little bit of a fairy garden. I don't know why my camera didn't want to focus too well on these kind of like multi-layered projects, but this is the top of it. And then if you move down, this is the bottom of the fairy garden with our little mushroom house, little bench, little love garden rock. Super easy to do and very whimsical for spring. And let me kind of show you how it all looks together, my little spring tier tray. Now that is it for my new spring DIYs I've made so far this year, so we're going to switch it up and do St. Patrick's Day. These are all of the St. Patrick's Day DIYs I've made this year. It also includes a tier tray at the end. So let's get started. With this frame I picked up at Dollar Tree. It's a 4x6 frame, but as you can see it's actually square, so I thought I could make a really cute little canvas for St. Patrick's Day with this. It's just a white frame, so I'm actually going to save the back, the frame, and the glass to make this canvas. And I designed a really cute little St. Patrick's Day watercolor printable that I'll be sure to include the link down below so that you can print it out yourself. So this was a super easy frame to take apart. I'm going to go ahead and remove the glass, and I can use that as a template for cutting this down. Now this is the free printable that I designed, the little leprechaun. I printed mine out on cardstock. It's just a little bit easier to work with, especially when you're Mod Podging. And I just laid my glass right on top and used a pencil to frame it out so I can cut this down to size. It's going to fit that glass perfectly. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it like exactly the same as the glass, but what I'm going to do for this is actually attach the cardstock to the outside of the glass. It's going to provide a nice firm surface, and since I already have the glass, I might as well use it, and it actually works pretty well for this. So I cut it down just a little bit smaller just to kind of go on the inside edges. And then on the actual glass of the frame, I put down a nice thin layer of Mod Podge. I want to get it kind of all over and enough to definitely keep a hold of the cardstock. And then we're just going to lay that right on front. I used to like try to make new backs for these kind of things, but you know what? The glass works perfect for this. And if you're not going to use it to cover it, because I do want like this canvas look, I went over the top of it with more Mod Podge. So you're going to get like that brush stroke. You're going to get that texture in it, and it's going to make it look like a little canvas. So I went ahead and did one coat and dried it. And I had pretty good texture, but I noticed a few areas that still needed sealing, so I went over it with one more coat. Now you have to be kind of careful when you're using those foam brushes from Dollar Tree. They do like to leave little tiny pieces of foam. So I went ahead and dried that one, popping the glass back in the frame. We can put the back on it. This one has these great little corners that make it really easy to put back together. And flip those all around. And it's even got a hanger if you wanted to hang it, but look how cute this is. A quick, easy little St. Patrick's Day DIY that would look great with your decor. The colors are not too crazy bright, and I think the little leprechaun sitting on the mushroom is super cute. What do you guys think about our first Dollar Tree DIY? And remember, I will include a link to the free printable below if you'd like to recreate this DIY. I think he turned out really cute. Okay, for the next one, we're going to use a Dollar Tree frame again. This one's going to be the 5x7, and then I'm also going to use one of their 5x7 burlap canvases. I wanted to use white with this again, and I want to use a lot of burlap today, so the burlap canvas will be perfect. And then I just need something that's shaped like a shamrock. It's pretty easy if you don't have something. Do like 3 hearts and then like a stem, put it all together. But I had one of these little shamrock signs from the Dollar Tree, so I'm just going to use that for a template. And I just laid it simply on my burlap canvas. And I am just going to sketch that out using that as a pattern. I did happen to have like a green Sharpie, so that came in handy. And we're actually going to frame this canvas in the Dollar Tree frame. So once I got it sketched out, I'm just going to go in there with my green paint pen. This is a Posca paint pen, so it works pretty well on most surfaces, even burlap. And I'm just going to go in there, and it's just like coloring in between the lines. I'm just going to fill this in with green to make a cute little shamrock. Now this color is kind of a traditional color for St. Patrick's Day, but it's not a color that I'm using a lot today. So I'm actually going to add some more green to this a little later on, but this is going to get us started. So I'm going to go ahead and try to make sure I'm staying in my lines and give that a quick green paint pen. I do want to fill in any areas. I also want to try to cover up any of the Sharpie that might still be exposed. Even though I kind of like the multicolored look a little bit, I wanted a little dimension in my shamrock, and it's a little bit of a chunky shamrock using that stencil that I did. You might want a skinnier one. Then I'm just going to go ahead and open my Dollar Tree frame. This is the white frame. I'm going to go ahead and remove the back, remove the glass. We're not going to need that. And then the little staples kind of get in the way, so I'm going to go ahead and remove those. You kind of have to bend those down before you pull them out, otherwise you'll kind of split that Dollar Tree frame. And also the corners like to fall apart when you put a canvas in these. So I just put some hot glue in each corner to help reinforce those and set that aside and let that dry to try to make that a little bit sturdier. So this is my shamrock, nothing crazy. I just wanted a simple silhouette of a green shamrock. And I do want it to stay in place though, so I do another bead of hot glue on the inside of the frame and just turn it over and pop this canvas right in. It does want to kind of gap your corners a little bit, which is why I went in there and added a little hot glue to the corners. But if you still have gaps, kind of like I do here, there are a few tricks. You can kind of squeeze, push it together to kind of get rid of those little cracks. And I was able to get it in there pretty good. Now, once I have that, I want to be able to stand it up. So I'm going to go ahead and use the same back that came with a frame, but I'm just going to attach it with hot glue to the back of the burlap canvas. That way I can still use that to hang or use the little stand to stand it up, which is how I'm going to display mine. Now, I really liked it. I was trying to kind of fix my corners a little bit. I was able to get them fairly tight. But then I decided I wanted a little bit more dimension and color, so I decided to use some acrylic paint that I had on hand in leaf green. And I'm just going to use a small brush and go in there and just paint over what I already have. I know that dark green is going to kind of come through this lighter leaf green, but I really love how it turned out in the end because it kind of gave me a more multi-dimensional green, which I was a little bit happier with. And I really like using this leafy green for St. Patrick's Day. It is a really kind of fun vibe. We're going to be using this color a lot today with some of our other DIYs. I'm thinking a lot of burlap, a little bit farmhouse style to these DIYs today. But the thing they all have in common is that they're definitely all really easy to do. So I just go in one section at a time, painting that lighter green until I have it good and painted, and then I dried it, and as you can see, as it dried, how that dark paint came back through a little bit underneath of it and kind of gave it a cool vibe. So I'm happy with it. It's nice and simple, but I thought if I displayed it with a little rainbow from Target Dollar Spot, and maybe even a little pot of gold that I had from Target Dollar Spot, that would be really cute to kind of pair them all together. So let me show you how they look. I am just displaying it with that rainbow, and then I also had a little pot of gold. I think I got those at the Target Dollar Spot maybe last year. They have a lot of really cute little St. Patrick's items like that this year, kind of for sale individually, so that's kind of a fun find. And this is how it looks all together. I think it's super fun for St. Patrick's Day. Hey guys, if you're enjoying today's video, be sure to hit that like button. It really helps. And don't forget to subscribe. We're trying to get to 30,000 subscribers. Okay, the next DIY, we're going to make a wall hanging using one of these great wooden and galvanized metal shamrocks from the Dollar Tree, one of the Dollar Tree round signs, and one of their burlap bags. So we're going to start with this sign first. I do want to replace the beads on here than just the raw beads. And I kind of want to do a rainbow theme, and I found a really cool rainbow wood beads at the Dollar Tree. So I just kind of disconnected mine from one side so that I can pull those off and change those beads out. Now, this is the perfect size to go on the little round sign from the Dollar Tree, but I do want to add a little burlap to it as well. So I just went ahead and removed the hanger from the little galvanized metal sign. Those are so cute. And then I'm just going to use one of the little Dollar Tree faux burlap bags. I'm going to cut the front panel off of one to give me a little piece of fabric that's just the right size to cover this wood round. And I want to cover the wood round with this so that the shamrock has a burlap background. I love working with these little synthetic burlap bags like this from the Dollar Tree because they cut so easily and they don't fray at all. So I just flipped it over. It kind of has a plastic side on the inside. And I just laid it right on my frame since I have that round frame that I kind of have to work around. And I just used an ink pen to sketch out the size. And it doesn't have to be perfect. I don't want it to be too tight up against the frame because those round frames are always off a little bit. And so I want it to be able to fit in there flat. So as you can see, it is so easy to cut this and you get a perfectly clean cut just like that. So that's going to be the background for this round sign. Just like that, it's just a matter of attaching it, and we're going to do that with some Mod Podge. So I'm going to do a rather thick coat because I am gluing down that plastic liner on the back of the burlap. But I've never really had trouble with it. It's just that it might need a little bit more glue and a little bit more time to dry that out. I just smoothed mine down with a paper towel to try to dry up any glue that might have came out of the sides, and then used a sanding sponge to kind of clean up that frame a little bit. It wasn't too bad. And then I want the shamrock to go on it just like that. Isn't that so cute? Now to fill the holes in it and to help hold it to the sign, I'm going to use just some plain Dollar Tree thumbtacks in the silver color that's going to match with the galvanized metal. But I'm going to use hot glue to get it started. I know hot glue and metal doesn't always work well together, so the combination of the hot glue and the thumbtacks is actually going to make it a little bit sturdier. So I just did hot glue on the little rails that are going down that's going to attach to our burlap and lay that right on top. Try not to burn yourself though, that metal gets really hot. And then I am going to use my thumbnails. I'm going to have to use a hammer to be able to hammer this into the wood sign. And the great thing about this is that the silver thumbtacks match, blends in well. It's going to cover that hole, those two holes that I don't need, but it's also going to be functional to hold that onto the sign. It's looking really good. You can add a word to it if you wanted to, but I'm just going to kind of leave mine as a shamrock. Now this is the rainbow would-be garland that I found at Dollar Tree. I actually just found this like in the regular aisle, not necessarily St. Patrick's Day. But the colors are rainbow, but they're like a little muted. Like there's no orange or anything like that. And I don't really think I need white. So I'm going to kind of do my own thing here with the colors that I have. But I like these muted rainbow colors. It goes nicely with that shamrock because the shamrock itself is kind of a lighter green color. My twine on there did want to fray a little bit, so I just put a little hot glue there on the end to make that a little easier. And I just did blue, green, yellow, and red. And then I'm going to go ahead and repeat that rainbow one more time. Again, I don't have all the colors of the rainbow, but I kind of like what I have. So I did 2 of the red, yellow, green, blue. And then I'm going to go ahead and reattach this hanger on the back, just kind of adding a staple where one was before, and a little hot glue on the end of my twine to try to help that stay in place. And this is how it turned out. Another easy St. Patrick's Day DIY wall hanging. How cute is this? I think the rainbow beads are a nice surprise there at the top, but I really love these wood and galvanized metal pieces. We're going to be using another one of those today from Dollar Tree. I think they're so cute for St. Patrick's Day, and this was really easy to put together. I think they have 2 different ones of the shamrocks, maybe in different colors. I think that this one was a little bit lighter green. Hey guys, I wanted to take a quick moment out of today's video and let you know about my Facebook group. You can find out when I post new videos. I will post a link to the group below. I also have a Facebook page, Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest, and my handle is Crafty Beach on YouTube. Okay, let's get back to the DIYs. I wanted to do a wreath for St. Patrick's Day, but I wanted to do a really easy one. So we're going to be using the 14-inch wire wreath form from Dollar Tree and some of their burlap rolls, some of their shamrocks, and some of their felt garland. I actually got this at the party aisle, but I think it's going to be great to make a little rainbow pennant garland for this wreath. Now, I wanted to use burlap in a lot of the DIYs today, so I thought we would do a burlap wreath for this one. So I'm going to start here on the back of my frame, and I'm just going to use a little hot glue to get us started and lay the burlap roll right on there at an angle. I love this rolled burlap from the Dollar Tree. Whenever I see it, I always try to stock up on it. I'm going to overlap it slightly, but just enough to kind of not create a gap or to not be able to see through it. And this is how easy this wreath is. I told you these DIYs were going to be easy. It's just a matter of wrapping this. You could do this with the green foam wreath form from the Dollar Tree, but I thought it was going to be too small for this project, and I'm glad that I went larger because I was able to fit in everything I wanted to do on this St. Patrick's Day wreath. Now my burlap roll was almost long enough, but not quite. Maybe if I hadn't overlapped so much, I might have been able to be able to make it. But I just went ahead and cut it so that I could start and stop on the back where you won't be able to see it. So I just glued the end that I cut to my new roll of burlap, just like that. And then I can continue the last couple rounds around. And then I'm going to cut it down and glue it to the back again for my final piece. And I wasn't sure if you'd be able to see through the burlap on the wire, but I was actually pretty happy with the coverage on this. And I want to do like a fun little rainbow pennant banner along the top. And I thought this felt garland from the Dollar Tree would be perfect because it's got rainbow colors already. So it's actually got some extra colors that I don't need, but it's got red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. You can use purple. I did not have enough room on mine, so I actually stopped at blue. Now I want it to be like a mini pennant banner, so I'm going to actually take advantage of the shape of these and just cut one at a diagonal like that, and it's going to give me a perfect little triangle to make a little pennant banner. And then I'm going to do the same thing on all of these. That way I can save the excess felt there if I need to do another project, but this took a lot of the guesswork out of creating a triangle. I just had to make one cut to get this. So I'm just going through my different colors of the rainbow, cutting those all down to size. I want this to have like a little rainbow pennant banner up in one corner and then shamrocks down in the other corner. You can always add some gold to yours as well if you wanted to, but today I was kind of steering away from gold on some of my DIYs, leaning more towards like green, burlap, and rainbows. So now I'm just going to cut down some twine from the Dollar Tree to make that little pennant banner. And I'm going to start here on one end and just hot glue. I'm going to start with the red one. I'm not really going to measure these. I'm going to kind of like just space those out a little bit. And I'm just going to simply hot glue the felt to the twine. Super easy little pennant banner, but it's going to work well to string across the top of this little wreath. And I think this wreath would be sturdy enough to hold up outdoors, depending on your weather. I think I might put mine outdoors, but it'd be really cute in your entryway as well. And again, I only had room for red, orange, yellow, green, and blue. So that is what I'm going to do for mine, and then cut down the twine to size. I want to string it here where it kind of just hangs on the left side like that. So I'm going to actually flip it over and attach the twine to the burlap on the back so I can kind of hide that and it can just drape over like that. Just like that, easy peasy. I'm not going to attach a hanger on this. I'm actually able to use the wreath form for a hanger itself. But if I do put it outside, I might need to put one on there. Now, these are the little shamrocks from the Dollar Tree. These are the ones without the glitter. I think they have these plain ones, but they also have the ones with the glitter. We'll be using those today as well, too. And I just pulled them off. So the little stem stays in the middle, but they have like a little tiny stub on there. But it worked well because I could hot glue that down into the burlap. If it's too long, you can trim it down a little bit. And that's what I did there. So as you can see, I'm just kind of alternating and I'm working opposite, the opposite corner of where we did that little rainbow garland. And I'm just kind of staggering them. So I started with two and then I went one up, one down. And then on this side and on this side, I'm going to kind of repeat that one that's a little closer to the center. And this was so easy to do. If you can't find this plant, you could always cut down some green felt into little shamrocks as well. That would be super cute. And I did a couple more there at the bottom to fill that out. And this is how it turned out. I told you it was going to be an easy St. Patrick's Day wreath. And I think it's really cute and classic looking. A little burlap wreath with a rainbow pennant garland and little shamrocks at the bottom for St. Patrick's Day. You know, St. Patrick's Day is exactly 2 weeks before Easter this year, so I wanted these St. Patrick's Day DIYs to be quick and easy for you because you might not be able to leave them up as long as you normally do. Now the next DIY, I just picked up one of these long signs from the Dollar Tree, the white one with the wood frame on it. And then I actually used some stencil vinyl and I cut it down to a 9.5-inch width to see if I could use it with my Cricut Joy Extra instead of smart vinyl without a mat. And you know what? It worked perfectly. The only thing I did was move the little rollers to the side. And look at this. No mat or anything. Now I will share the SVG to this cutout that we're going to use. You could always do this with regular vinyl, but I love using this stencil vinyl. I get this on Amazon. I have this linked in my Amazon shop below. And I also get my paper, transfer paper on there as well, which is what this is. We're going to use that to attach the stencil to this long sign. So I did this really chunky font and spelled out the word lucky and made it just the right size for this Dollar Tree sign. And it's just going to make it easier to use the transfer paper to lay that on there. And I'll just use my scraper to make sure all of my letters are down pretty good. I did have a slight gap here at the top. I wanted to make sure I didn't get any paint there. But now it's time to paint. I'm going to use that same leaf green acrylic paint and a little stencil dauber from the Dollar Tree to do a quick stencil here. With the little gaps for the little slats, does make it a little tricky, and it did have a little bit of bleeding for this, but I was going for kind of a rustic farmhouse vibe on this, so I'm going to distress it anyway, so I think it's going to be okay. So I just went over mine with one coat of that leaf green. I did fill in some of the crevices there with a brush just to kind of make that a little bit more even. And gave it a quick dry with my heat gun. Now it's the moment of truth. We're going to remove this stencil and kind of see our results. I just wanted a simple sign that said lucky. I was originally going to add some of those shamrock stickers that you see over there on the side, but I really like the simplicity of just the word lucky like this, and so this is what we're going to use. I just went ahead and dried it some more and then sanded it down with my sanding sponge to kind of bring some of the white through, lightly distress all of those letters. And then to distress it a little bit more, I'm just using some ivory paint and a chunky brush, and I'm going to do a light dry brush all over just to kind of break it up and make it look a little bit rustic. I like that vibe. And it hides any imperfections if you're on your stencil. And I will include that SVG below if you would like to recreate that with your cutting machine. But I'm glad I decided to make a stencil for it because I never would have been able to paint this cleanly. I think it turned out really good. So there it is, our little lucky sign. Nothing fancy, but it actually looks really cute paired with some of my St. Patrick's Day DIYs, and it was really easy to put together. What do you guys think about my little lucky sign? I like it, and I love those long signs like that from the Dollar Tree. They're so versatile. So no burlap on this one, but it's kind of sticking with our color scheme that we're using today. Now the next one, I picked up one of these glitter foam shamrocks from the Dollar Tree. And I'm not a fan of the glitter, but I thought it would be really cute to try to make this a moss shamrock display for St. Patrick's Day. So I picked up a little stand from the Dollar Tree as well. This one kind of had a really cool stain on it as well, so I took advantage of that. And then I picked up two different kinds of reindeer moss at Dollar Tree because they're different colors, as you can see. One's way more green and one's way more brown. I wanted two different kinds of reindeer moss because I kind of wanted it to look clumpy where there was like different kinds of moss mixed together. I kind of like that vibe, but if you want to do yours all with the same color, I'm sure that would look really good as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and dump those out, kind of breaking them apart into some smaller pieces. And we are just going to simply cover the green glitter foam with the moss. So just one piece at a time. I am going to hot glue the moss onto the glitter. The glitter kind of protected the foam a little bit. It really wasn't melting from the hot glue that I normally see from that. But I am going to have to do a fairly heavy coat of moss to cover up all that glitter. I guess you could have painted it first if you wanted to. But I thought I could do a pretty good job of covering it all up. So as you can see, I'm kind of alternating. I did like the bright green, the brown, the bright green, and the brown. And just finish off the stem of this first. And then we're just going to do one section at a time. I just wanted to keep alternating the two different kinds of moss so it will look kind of random. And right now I'm just gluing to the very top part, anything that's going to be kind of visible there from the top. And even though this was a really easy St. Patrick's Day DIY, this one was probably the most time-consuming one today, just because you had to kind of glue all this moss on one piece at a time. So this is the first little heart shape of our little shamrock, and we're going to speed this way up just because this part was definitely a little bit more time consuming. But basically, I want to cover all of the shamrock that you're going to be able to see. I want to make this like a standing shamrock display for St. Patrick's Day, and it turned out so cute. But I don't want you to be able to see any of the glitter, so I'll show you how I kind of mask all that. So just one piece at a time, just alternating my colors. And trying to cover as much as I can with this first row of moss until I go all the way around. Now, you can still see the glitter on the outside of the shamrock and on the inside of the shamrock. So we're going to have to add more moss to both of those, so you can't really see it from the front. You could also add moss to the back. I chose not to, but if you had plenty of moss and time, you totally could do that. But that's what it looks like so far. It's looking cute, but still you can see that glitter. So we're going to have to go in here, and I just started at the stem again, kind of one piece at a time, and just start hot gluing that again all the way around. And I don't want to make like my moss pieces too thick. I am going to trim it up here in the end to try to make sure it still has that perfect like shamrock look. But I thought this turned out really cool with the moss on the shamrock. I have DIY'd these before. I have made a coastal shamrock with this by covering the whole thing in Dollar Tree sand glued on. And that turned out really cute. It kind of gave me the display or the idea of displaying this one on a little pedestal like I did before. But the moss look totally goes with St. Patrick's Day, totally kind of goes with the Irish vibe. And so I just keep gluing more moss on here. Definitely making sure to use my finger protector because I'm using a lot of hot glue here. Don't want to burn myself. Now, if you're happy with that amount of coverage, you could stop there. I'm not a big fan of the glitter on this for sure, so I wanted to make sure that you couldn't see any at all, and I thought you could still see, you know, like the row on the inside. So after I got the front and the sides done, I do go in and add more moss to the inside to make sure that you can't see any of the glitter from the front. So I kind of flipped it around to kind of do it from the back just because I thought it would be a little bit easier to see. And I'm still working on those same 2 bags of moss that I started with. It goes further than you think because this project is really not that small, but I had plenty with the 2 packages together to cover this completely with moss. And again, if you wanted to do like all the same color, I'm sure that would look really good too. But I kind of wanted to try out like different kinds of moss this time, kind of give it that patchy moss look. I think that looks pretty cool. So just one section at a time, I'm filling on the inside, and I don't really have enough left to do the back of mine or the time, so I'm just going to leave it like that. But again, you could always moss the back of yours as well, kind of to make it a more finished project. Now I've got it all covered in moss. It's looking pretty cool. It's looking a little wild though, so I do go in with my scissors and kind of just give it a quick trim. Trim up any of the moss pieces that are kind of sticking out a little bit significant. Want to try to clean up any like glue strings and stuff since I used so much hot glue with that. And I really kind of want to make sure that I don't have any areas where you can really see the glitter shining through the moss. And I think I did a pretty good job of covering that up. Now I used a little foam pool noodle knife to cut off the very base just to make it super flat back there. And then this was the little wood sign that I got from Dollar Tree to use as the base. Isn't that a really cool stain? I was going to use burlap on something, but I really liked the vibe of this. And I'm just going to give it a quick sand to get off any splinters from the side of this, but otherwise the base is ready to go. Now for a little bit more stability, I tried to find some of the largest nails that I have from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to go ahead and choose 2 of those. I'm going to drive those in the bottom of this so they will be sticking upright, and then I can actually attach those to the foam shamrock on the inside to help hold this up. So I'm just going to do the 2 nails side by side so they will fit in the base. It's not too wide there. And flip it over and drive the nails all the way through. So this is how mine looks. I'm just going to straighten them out a little bit. And then I'm also going to add hot glue. It's going to be a combination of the nails and the hot glue, holding the little shamrock on the base. And then I'm just going to layer that on there, trying to make sure that I get it on there centered and straight. And I think this turned out really cute. It was definitely not hard, just a little time consuming with all of the moss that I had to attach. But I think it looks really cool for St. Patrick's Day. My little mossy shamrock. Here it is with a little bit better lighting in my home. Isn't that so cool? I know Dollar Spot at Target has sold something similar in the past, but I kind of like this one even better. And this would go with just traditional St. Patrick's Day decor, or it can go with farmhouse, coastal, any kind of theme. Hey guys, I wanted to take a quick moment to let you know that I've introduced memberships here on my channel. For $4.99 a month, you're going to get early ad-free access to my videos, and it's a quick, easy way to support me here on YouTube. All you have to do is hit the join button under this video. Okay, let's do another easy St. Patrick's Day DIY. I picked up one of these signs from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to have mine vertical, so I just went ahead and removed one of the hangers from the back. Save that for later because I don't need it. And I designed another free printable that I will include in the links below. The great thing about these Dollar Tree signs is they're almost exactly the same size as a sheet of paper. So I printed this out on cardstock, and I'm just going to use my paper trimmer to cut it down barely on all 4 sides so that it will fit into this frame, and we can do a really simple little ombre shamrock design on this sign like that. My cardstock almost fits, so I'm just going to trim it down a tiny bit more until it fits perfectly. And I really like this frame. It's a perfect size, but I don't really like the fact that this one has like the dark wood frame. I kind of wanted something more close to the burlap color we've been using a lot today. And I don't have anything that color, so I'm going to try to mix some stuff up to see if I can get that close. I use like a Dollar Tree brown and like an ivory and mix those together. And then I tried adding like a little antique wax by Waverly. I wanted something that would be kind of like a wood tone that I could distress the wood frame with, but this really wasn't giving. It just needed to be a little bit warmer, and so I did add a little bit more brown and white to it. I still wasn't happy with it, so I decided to go in with some more antique wax by Waverly, and then the secret ingredient, I added a little yellow acrylic, and then that totally got me the color scheme that I was wanting. And I'm just going to use that mixed paint to distress the frame. The back of it doesn't really matter. I like that color a little bit more. And I just kind of drag my brush on the top of it. I do want some of that like darker wood grain to be like kind of peeking through a little bit, but I just wanted to brighten it up and just make it a little bit lighter. So it'll kind of coordinate nicely with all of my other St. Patrick's Day DIYs that we did today with like the burlap colors and like the lighter woods. So I just went ahead and painted those. I kind of wiped off any excess paint with a paper towel to make sure you kind of get that wood grain in there. And then I also went along the outside of the frame and the inside of the frame, kind of distressing everything equally. And I think that looks a lot better. Now you do have to make sure you get it good and dry because you don't want any of that paint coming onto your printable before you get it sealed or anything like that. So I dried mine, kind of touched it up a little bit over here and made sure it was good and dry so we can go ahead and attach our free printable here with Mod Podge. So I'm just using a brush this time and I'm just going all over. A nice even coat of Mod Podge, something that's going to be strong enough to hold that cardstock on there, and then just lay my little ombre shamrocks on there. Something really simple but really cute for St. Patrick's Day, and this would definitely go with any kind of theme or vibe in your St. Patrick's Day decor. So I went ahead and laid that on there, gave it a quick dry, and then I do want to go over the top of it with more of the matte Mod Podge to give it that textured canvas look, but to also seal it, kind of protect it a little bit, make it look less like paper and more like a fun canvas sign. So I just sealed that on there, made sure nothing was kind of sticking to it, gave that a quick dry with my heat gun as well. This is my new heat gun and I'm gonna have to remove this from my Amazon shop because I've only had this like 3.5 weeks. And it's already not working like it's supposed to. And I tried to return it and I can't, like the window's already closed. So I did order a new one I'm going to test. And so maybe I'll replace that with it. I thought about distressing the shamrocks a little bit more, but I kind of liked the vibe of just the ombre. So I went ahead and left it. And so this is how it turned out. Our little ombre shamrocks, just very simple. In a grid pattern, you know, slightly getting darker green as you work your way down. And I think this turned out really cute. Super easy, especially using one of those little Dollar Tree signs. Now the next DIY, I picked up this tinsel shamrock. I don't know if I'd really call it a wreath from Dollar Tree, but a little tinsel shamrock. And I thought we could remake this and make this a lot cuter. So it's just a matter of getting the tinsel off. The tinsel on the stem was super easy, but when I got to like the little leaf shapes on the shamrock, it was really tricky. Like they'd used wire and they went like all different kinds of wacky directions. And so it was taking me way longer to do this part. But I managed. If I got to a point where I really couldn't get it any further, I would just go in with my scissors and kind of cut down the wire a little bit. But what I want to do is just reveal the plastic cage that's underneath. And I wanted to kind of do my own thing for decorating that. I think I've used these before, maybe with Dollar Tree rope, to do a coastal shamrock, and it turned out pretty cool. So I thought I wanted to kind of see what else I could do, kind of a more traditional theme for St. Patrick's Day, decorating this. But you know what? I think removing the tinsel was like 9/10 of the work on this one. Building it was easy after trying to get the tinsel off. I don't know why. It's just not like wrapped around in some kind of a sensical way. But I kind of worked with it here, one little leaf at a time, trimming it if necessary, and getting rid of all of that tinsel. I know some of you guys like those tinsel items from the Dollar Tree, but I do not care for them at all. I only buy them because they have little great cages underneath of them that are really fun to DIY for certain holidays. And I hope this voiceover is making some sense. This video took me a lot longer than I thought it was going to take me to do this. I'm burning some midnight oil doing this voiceover. and I am tired. Okay, so here is the cage. I finally got it unveiled. And then these are the shamrocks from the Dollar Tree that have the glitter on them. You know I'm not a fan of glitter, but this is a very subtle like gold glitter on them, so I think it's fine. It's not real noticeable. I'm going to start right here at the top of my stem and in between like the little petals here, and just go ahead and glue them on. All I did was just pull them off the greenery. And I'm going to skip a couple sections at a time. I don't really want to overlap them too much if I don't need to. And what I want to do is just glue these shamrocks all around the different shape of the shamrocks to make like a shamrock wreath. Does that make sense? So you can skip a couple. I just wanted to skip enough where I don't use too many. I don't want it to be too crowded, but I want to use enough where you can't see any of the plastic cage. And so we're just going around that first petal. I do have a variety of different colors there. One of them there has like the lighter green and the darker green. And I was going to mix them up together, but I really kind of like the idea of just using all the same color on this one. So I'm just using the darker green ones. And as you can see, the glitter on them is not much at all. So easy peasy, that was our first petal. And now I'm just going to go ahead here on the other side and do the same thing. It was really easy to attach these because you have that little bit of stem left on them from pulling them off of the greenery. And then you can just hot glue that to the side of one of those tabs and glue it up against the frame. You have a couple items to glue it to, and it's really lightweight too, so it doesn't take much to attach it. And if you get like some that are really like bent up, it's really easy to iron those out if you have a heat gun or something like that. They will straighten right up, and look how good those flattened out nicely. And I'm just going to keep pulling those off and gluing those all the way around. It really didn't take much. This is probably one of the easiest ways I have done one of these little Dollar Tree cages. And then I'm going to glue one on the stem there, and we can go up and do our final leaf. I am going to do the stem of the shamrock and add some little fun touches to decorate this a little bit more. But I really like the vibe of just using this greenery. I love the little shamrocks. They're so versatile. Whether you want to put them in a pot or you want to decorate with them like this, I think they're just so cute. And so almost done, just hot gluing. I skipped like every 2 or 3, just kind of depending on what was going to give me good coverage of the plastic cage. I wanted to make sure that you can't see any of that, any of the little tabs. And now we can just do the stem. And this one kind of had like little tabs facing out in one direction. So I kind of glued my stems in between the tabs to kind of give a little bit more area to glue to. So that part is done. I'm just going to clean up any excess hot glue that I have on there. I thought about lining the back of the leaves with burlap, but I kind of liked them open a little bit like that. I'm going to make a super easy hanger just by taking some Dollar Tree twine and stringing it through the top here and tying a simple loop. Now this stem really kind of goes sideways on this to the side, but I think that's okay. I'm still going to kind of hang it straight from the center leaf to hang it down, but I thought it needed a few more touches. So I did want to bring some burlap in. So I decided to do that with some of this burlap ribbon from the Dollar Tree to kind of give me that burlap touch, but it's nice and skinny enough that I can do just a quick, easy little bow here. So I'm kind of going up here where the stem kind of goes into the shamrock, and I'm going to tie off my bow right there. So I'm going to go ahead and cut my burlap ribbon down to size. What I'm going to do is just tie a knot and just a really simple bow on this one. I'm going to leave the tails a little bit longer so they can kind of drape down that longer shamrock stem there. And it gave me just what I wanted, like a little touch of burlap, a little bow, but nothing too crazy. And I am going to add one more decoration to that once I get that looking exactly the way I want. Took a little bit of arranging. It was fighting me a little bit, but I think that looks pretty good. Now, for the decoration, I just wanted something small, something that said like St. Patrick's Day, and I found the perfect item for that. Just one of the little wood bead garlands from Dollar Tree. I'm going to just take the little happy St. Patrick's Day little leprechaun hat off here. Just a matter of getting the twine off there. It was knotted on there pretty good. And then I can just use that existing hole with some more twine, and I can just tie that around, kind of going to do it where my bow comes together. That way it'll kind of just hang down right there and kind of give like a little tag feel to the sign. So I just wrap that around where my bow is and knot that on the back. Easy peasy. And it was the perfect little final touch to this DIY. Isn't this so cute? It was really easy to put together. Taking the tinsel off was definitely the only challenging part of this, but putting it together with the Dollar Tree little shamrocks was a piece of cake. And this is how it turned out. Isn't this so cute? You can use this as an indoor wall hanging. You can also use this as a wreath for your front door for St. Patrick's Day. I think it's really sweet. And how cute is that little leprechaun hat on there? I love that. Just a fun, quick St. Patrick's Day DIY. Now for the next one, I told you we're going to use another galvanized metal piece from the St. Patrick's Day aisle at Dollar Tree. This one is a leprechaun hat. And then I also found some great green and black plaid fabric from the Dollar Tree. And then I just picked up a Dollar Tree square sign. And I thought we could kind of put all these pieces together to make a little fun sign. I thought that the leprechaun hat really looked like a chalkboard because it's black versus green on the little shamrocks. But I'm just going to take this Dollar Tree fabric, and what I'm going to do is just cut down a square of that to cover the back sign. If you had some scrapbook paper or something like that, that would work. That would be really cute as well. But this was kind of really the only green fabric that I had, but I think it turned out really well. So I just laid my sign on the back of it. I used a Sharpie to kind of give me a reference line so I can kind of cut this down to size. I wanted to be fairly careful as I cut the fabric because I did not want it to fray. Didn't want to do any sewing or anything like that, and so I'm just going to go ahead and cut down that square out of this fabric, and I'm glad I found this fabric. I think it looks really great for St. Patrick's Day. So that's what we have so far. It is wrinkled a little bit, so I'm going to go in there and give the fabric a quick press with my Easy Press so I can get this laying flat, so I can make sure that I have this cut down to a perfect square, and it's going to be provide good coverage on that sign and lay flat. So once I got it ironed, it was definitely easier to go in here and give it a quick trim. And it's not going to be perfect, but if I can get it fairly close and without fraying, I'm going to be happy with it. So just trying it on for size there. And I did notice a few areas that still needed a little bit of trimming. And so I'm just going to straighten those out. And I really don't want any of that fabric to go over the sides. I thought about cutting it in individual strips for my slats, but I decided to leave it all in one piece. I thought that would be a little bit easier, and with the Mod Podge, it does kind of like go down in between the different pieces as well. It gives you a little bit of texture, even if you don't cut it. So I just used matte Mod Podge again, and we're going all over that Dollar Tree sign, and a nice thick coat of that to be able to hold the fabric on here. And the only tricky part is getting this like lined up just perfect, where you can't see any of the wood sign behind it, just that fun green plaid. Once I got it on there, I kind of smoothed mine out with a baby wipe. I didn't really want to Mod Podge on the top, and I did have a little bit of Mod Podge coming through, So I just kind of spread it out a little bit and then went in there with my heat gun and dried that completely so we can keep crafting. Now I do want to switch up the wood beads on this one, kind of like we did on that round sign earlier. So I just removed one side of the hanger, removed those unfinished wood beads, and then these are the wood beads that came with that little happy St. Patrick's Day leprechaun sign that we used on our shamrock wreath. And I thought I would just use some of the green and whites on here. I'm going to do dark green, white, light green, and then I'm going to reverse that here on the other side. So I have like 3 beads hanging on each side with like the same kind of color pattern going down. I'm just going to staple that to the back, add a little hot glue to my twine, and we have a new hanger on our little Dollar Tree sign. And it is coming together nicely. Now this is the little leprechaun hat. It's galvanized metal with the little black wood sign on there. It's super cute. So again, I'm going to go ahead and use the thumbtacks from Dollar Tree because I think that was a great solution. It's going to help hold it onto the sign. It's going to cover up those holes there on the top that we don't no longer need. And then I'm going to start though by hot gluing the sign itself to the fabric. Just trying to get it centered on there. And then I can go back with those thumbtacks and just nail those in to provide a little bit more security. Now I left the shamrock plain earlier because I kind of liked that better. This is a larger surface, and since it's black, it really reminded me of a chalkboard. So I thought we could use like a white paint pen and kind of do like our own little chalkboard words on here. So I went in with my Posca white paint pen and I just did cursive in luck. And then I'm going to do of the, kind of like in a smaller print letter. And then I'm going to do Irish, kind of like in a Ray Dunn font. Something nice and skinny, easy to kind of sketch on there without any kind of stencil. And we're going to make it say Luck of the Irish. I have a little bit of room here, so I'm just going to freehand on a little shamrock. 3 little hearts with a stem, pretty easy to do. And color that in white. This was another fun St. Patrick's Day DIY. Very easy to do, and I just love the colors, the way the green and the black go together so nicely on this. And it really does look like a little chalkboard. You could probably use it for that if you wanted to. But there's so many fun little Irish sayings that you could put on there as well. I'm a tiny bit Irish from my grandfather, so I always try to claim that at St. Patrick's Day for sure. Next up is my St. Patrick's Day tier tray this year. This is the tier tray that we're going to decorate. It is my white 2 tier tray that I got on Amazon, and yes, it is in my shop below. Now, I told you it was going to be a greenery themed tier tray. So this is some greenery that I got at Dollar Tree. I think it's really pretty. And I have it left over from another project I was using it for. I think this is going to be perfect. It's a little bit shorter than it comes, but I think it's going to be great for the top of my tier tray. I'm just going to kind of wrap it around to kind of get started. I do want it to kind of hang over the sides a little bit, give a little bit of cascading vines in the design. I think that will be pretty. And then up next, I found this great little lucky horseshoe at Dollar Tree. It's really cute. At first, I was thinking about painting the galvanized metal on there, but then I decided against it. It's a little tricky to paint those, and I thought I just wanted a little bit of color. So I'm just going to take some of the little clover from Dollar Tree for St. Patrick's Day, and I'm just going to attach it to the galvanized metal little clover that's on there just by gluing it on, just to provide a little bit of color. I like the wood, I like the metal, and I think this is going to be a really nice piece for the top of the tier tray. And it's got a little greenery on it, so it's going to go with our theme. And it's a nice taller piece that I can put here on the very back of my top tier, where you can see it. Very cute for St. Patrick's Day. Now the next item, I just found this in the spring section. It's called a Fairy Garden Forest, but they had these in the new spring section at Dollar Tree with their fairy garden stuff, and I thought this would be the perfect little leprechaun house. So I'm just going to use a little paint and kind of give it a St. Patrick's Day makeover. I'm going to use this leaf green acrylic paint. And basically what I want to do is just paint the little pink flowers and the leaves that are on the front of the house to kind of give them more of a shamrock feel than a flower feel. It's already got like the greenery on the roof of the house. And I think that looks really cute. And I think it's just the right size for a little leprechaun to live in for my tier tray. Now the welcome is already in gold above the door, but I thought it would look even more fun for St. Patrick's Day if I were to paint it gold. So I'm just taking some acrylic paint in metallic gold and nothing crazy. I'm just going over the yellow with the gold to kind of give it that gold sparkle that's fun for St. Patrick's Day. And that's pretty much it. Otherwise, I think it's perfect and it'll make a perfect piece to go over here. I'm going to kind of wrap that Dollar Tree greenery around it to kind of make it look like it's a little bit wooded. And our little leprechaun can live in that cute little fairy garden house. I think that is really sweet and a fun little touch to add in. Not necessarily St. Patrick's Day, but with the spring theme. And I was really excited to see Target Dollar Spot offering these little tier tray pieces individually this year. I got this for $1. They had them instead of the multi-tray packs that they've been having the last couple of years. They had them individually like this, and I love it because you can pick exactly what you want. So I got this cute little leprechaun, and I'm going to put him right on top. It's a nice little chunky wood sign. He's kind of perfect. I don't have to do anything to him. I just kind of have like the greenery going around him. And then this is another piece I found at the Target Dollar Spot for only $1, so cheaper than the Dollar Tree. A little clover patch, pot of gold, Irish kisses, like directional arrow sign, and I thought that'd be really cute as well. Mine had a little bit of a chip in it, so I'm just going to give that a quick touch up with a paint pen, and this cute little sign is ready to go. So definitely check your Target Dollar Spot. I noticed at my store, these things go fast. Everybody wants to decorate their tier trays for St. Patrick's Day. So for filler, I thought I would use just some of these little shamrock greenery from Dollar Tree. This one's got like the 2 different shades of green with a little bit of gold glitter on it. And I just pulled off the little individual clovers. And I'm just going to kind of scatter them around until the top of the tier tray is completely full, and that was a really easy design to do up top. And we're going to continue this greenery theme down on the bottom. So I have some more of this greenery that I picked up at Dollar Tree. Again, I think it's really pretty. It can be anything as long as it's green. And I'm just going to spread this one out. This is a little bit of a longer piece than I had on the top. And I just kind of wrap it around the back, bringing it around kind of in a U shape so I can kind of wrap it around the pieces that we're going to add down there to the bottom. Now this is from the Dollar Tree. I just picked this up at Dollar Tree. It is a gold glitter shamrock, and look how pretty it is. I really don't have to do anything to it, and I did want to add a little bit of gold, so I'm going to kind of put that right back here in the back, let that glitter away back there. And then this is another Target Dollar Spot piece that I found for $1 this year, 2024, at Target Dollar Spot. A little chunky pot of gold. And I'm going to kind of put that maybe back here, but a little bit to the side so you still can kind of see it, just as another filler piece for the tier tray. Now, since we're doing greenery, I wanted to use a little bit more greenery. I found this one actually on clearance at Target. They're normally $5. They do go on sale. Just cheap greenery. It doesn't really matter what it is. It has a plain white plastic pot. And so I'm just going to give it a little touch of St. Patrick's Day by using some of the Dollar Tree St. Patrick's Day window decals. Just a little shamrock to put on the front. Otherwise, I think it's perfect. Now, since it's plastic, it didn't really want to stick to it like it would if this was like a glass pot. So I am going to have to do just a very thin coat of Mod Podge on the back of the window cling to make that stick. I didn't want to do anything crazy because I do want to be able to remove that to use that greenery for other seasons as well. But another very easy DIY. And it's a nice tall piece, so we're going to put this right back here. We also have that greenery from the Dollar Tree kind of wrapped around it. and it gives it a little bit more of a green touch. I love this theme for St. Patrick's Day. I think it turned out so pretty. Now the next piece I found at Dollar Tree, it's a little green truck with rainbows and stuff in the back. I want it to look a little bit more farmhouse, and so I don't want the bright rainbow and stuff in the back. And so I'm actually going to use some of this greenery I got at the Target dollar spot. You get 2 of these together for $5, and I thought they kind of looked like clover, right? They've had these in the past at Target dollar spot. I always try to pick them up because they're so versatile. You can do so many different things with them. I'm just going to flip mine over and kind of sketch out how much I need. And then I can cut out like just a little half circle piece of the greenery. And I can have like a load of shamrocks in the back of the little green truck instead of all the bright colors and stuff like that. Now, if you can't find these little tiles like this at Target dollar spot, it would be easy to do. If you can find any kind of greenery with like a small leaf like this, like a boxwood or something like that, it's going to kind of give you the feel of shamrocks. And that's what I was going for. As you can see, they have like little heart-shaped leaves, so they're not necessarily shamrocks, but they definitely give you that feel. Now you could kind of see through it, and you could see the rainbow and all the stuff back here, all the busyness I was trying to get rid of. So I'm just going to go over all of that with some Christmas green acrylic paint. It's pretty close to the same color as the truck, but just one coat of that to mask that. So when I attach the greenery to the back of the truck, you won't be able to see that through. You'll just kind of have a green background. And check out my new heat gun. I know my last video I was telling you guys my heat gun bit the dust, so I kind of upgraded to this model, and this is the first time I've used it. I will let you know what I think about it. I've been having really bad luck with my heat guns from Amazon. But this one worked great for today. And I'm just going to go ahead and hot glue this on and kind of just mold it to fit exactly where I want it. I want it just to look like an entire truckload of shamrocks, kind of give that feel. So I'm going to go in and kind of like trim it and then glue some of the extra pieces here at the top. Cleaning up any excess hot glue and just kind of clean it up a little bit to get exactly the look I'm going for. But I'm glad I switched it up. I think the truck looks really cute with the greenery in the back of it. What do you guys think about this one? I really like it, so it's going to kind of be the star of the show. We're going to put it right up here in front. It goes great with the greenery theme for St. Patrick's Day for this tier tray. And of course it stands up on its own. It's a nice chunky sign from the Dollar Tree. And I think a great value for $1.25. Now the next DIY, I'm just going to use one of these little plastic pot of gold, or I guess pots from the St. Patrick's aisle at Dollar Tree. And instead of a pot of gold, I'm actually going to do a pot of shamrocks. So again, I'm going to be using that same piece of greenery from the Target dollar spot. And I'm just going to cut down like a square a little bit bigger than the little pot itself. Again, I want it to all be attached. I'm just going to cut off some of these excess pieces and corner pieces to make it a little bit smaller, to make it fit in there. And then I'm just going to kind of bend it, kind of like in a ball shape, and put it down in there, and just a quick, easy way to make it look like a full pot of shamrocks. For St. Patrick's Day, it definitely goes with the theme, and I think it makes it look a little bit more high-end than like the plastic gold coins and stuff like that you can put in it. But I also have that coming in a later video too, if you do want that kind of vibe for St. Patrick's Day. So we're going to put this in the front. It's a nice smaller little pot, and we can have a little pot of clover. Then for filler, again, I'm going to be using some of the Dollar Tree clover and just kind of scatter these around wherever I kind of have an opening or somewhere where you'd be able to kind of see one. I'm just going to lay them, kind of layering them with the greenery, like the vine greenery that I already had in there. And this was such an easy tier tray to put together. It really did not take me very much time at all. Just a few pieces from the Dollar Tree and the dollar spot, honestly. Now, for the more filler, of course, I wanted a little bit more gold, and so I picked up some of these gold coins from Dollar Tree, and we're going to kind of scatter those around as well. I thought it'd be a fun little contrast against the greenery to kind of tuck them in here and there. Since I already have a little bit of gold with that shamrock back there, you can even lay them in your greenery like that. It's a little fun touch, and I used those to fill out the bottom. And this is how it turned out, our little greenery themed tier tray for St. Patrick's Day. I love it. And I think it looks so cute in my kitchen. I have the perfect little area on my kitchen counter for it. And let me give you a sneak peek. I will give you a little bit more of a look around because we're going to have the final reveal up next of all of the spring DIYs that I've made so far this year in 2024. Thank you so much for joining me today and making it through this crafting marathon video. I know a lot of you guys really enjoy when I make these longer videos, and I try to do that for every season. So this one, I kind of combined spring with St. Patrick's Day, but hopefully you still got lots of great crafting inspiration. I had a lot of fun putting this video together for you. Don't forget to hit the like button, comment your favorite DIY in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe. We are almost to 30,000 subscribers.
Just close your eyes and let them rest. I know it's hard to fall asleep, but do your best. 'Cause there's a place that I go to when I wanna hide from all the shades of blue. 'Cause at times I think of leaving, my mind takes me back to fall, when the snow begins to sing goodnight to warm. But I will never leave your side, you're the reason to all my pride. Never dry, and your roses are my guides. Goodbye, my friend, our love remains, but not this way. I'm in your garden as a day. Just feel the wind. If you look close, you see the lilies dance and how they slowly grow. I'm counting years as they go by. Now all the lilies gone and days is brought to life. 'Cause at times I think of leaving, my mind takes me back to fall, when the snow begins to sing goodnight to all. Just close your eyes and let them rest. I know it's hard to fall asleep, but do your best. 'Cause there's a place that I go to when I wanna hide from all the shades of blue. 'Cause at times I think of leaving, my mind takes me back to fall, when the snow begins to sing goodnight to warm. But I will never leave your side. You're the reason to all my pride. Never wither and runs dry, and your roses are my guides. Goodbye, my friend, our love remains, but not this way. I'm in your garden as a tale. Just feel the wind. If you look close, you see the lilies dance and how they slowly grow. I'm counting years as they go by. Now all the lilies gone and days is brought to life. 'Cause at times I think of leaving, my mind takes me back to fall, when the snow begins to sing goodnight to all. But I will never leave your side. You're the reason to all my pride. Never wither and runs dry, and your roses are my guide.
I'm walking down the street on clouds instead of the concrete I'm dancing through. Everything's about to come my way. Nothing can ruin my day, no matter what anyone does or say. I smile at fools. No, I don't care, 'cause I am on my way up, and I won't stop, I won't slow down. Steady on my feet, I'm gonna rise up. No, I won't stop, it is my time. I know what it's like to be broke. I know what it's like when nothing goes your way. So I'm gonna let myself enjoy the fruit from this lucky day. Yeah, I am on my way up, I won't slow down. Yeah, I am on my way up, I won't slow down. I'm strolling down the street with all of my favorite songs on repeat. I'm dancing through. Everything's about to come my way, and I don't care if you spill coffee on me or if the sky is gray or blue. No, I don't care, 'cause I am on my way up, and I won't stop, I won't slow down. Steady on my feet, I'm gonna rise up. No, I won't stop, it is my time. I know what it's like to be broke, yeah. I know what it's like when nothing goes your way. So I'm gonna let myself enjoy the fruit from this lucky day. Yeah, I am on my way up, I won't slow down. Yeah, I am on my way up, I won't slow down. Like to be broken, and I know what it's like when nothing goes your way. So I'm just gonna let myself enjoy the fruit from this lucky day. Yeah, I am on my way up, I won't slow down, 'cause I am on my way up, I won't slow down. Yeah, I am on my way up, I won't slow down. I I am on my way. I won't slow down. I'm walking down the street on clouds instead of the concrete I'm dancing through. Everything's about to come my way. Nothing can ruin my day, no matter what anyone does or say. I smile at fools. No, I don't care, cause I am on my way up. And I won't stop, I won't slow down. Steady on my feet, I'm gonna rise up. No, I won't stop, it is my time. I know what it's like to be broke. I know what it's like when nothing goes your way. So I'm gonna let myself enjoy the fruit from this lucky day. Yeah, I am on my way up. I won't slow down. Yeah, I am on my way up. I won't slow down. I'm strolling down the street with all of my favorite songs on repeat. I'm dancing through. Everything's about to come my way, and I don't care if you spill coffee on me or if the sky is gray or blue. No, I don't care, cause I am on my way up, and I won't stop, I won't slow down. Steady on my feet, I'm gonna rise up. No, I won't stop, it is my time. I know what it's like to be broke, yeah. And I know what it's like when nothing goes your way. So I'm gonna let myself enjoy the fruit from this lucky day. Yeah, I am on my way up. I won't slow down. Yeah, I am on my way up. I won't slow down. Like to be broken, and I know what it's like when nothing goes your way.
Thank you so much for joining me today. And I'd also like to give a huge shout out and thank you to all of my Crafty Beach Fun members for supporting my channel here on YouTube. Thank you so much to Karen O'Haron, Melinda Elizabeth, Jamie Job, Susan Edmonds, Carrie R., Tracy Knight, Nancy Wunner, Julie Miller, Tammy Coates, Janae Farrington, Pamelia Wren, Maria Grace, Donna Schreiner, Sandy C., and Iris Cornelius. Thank you so much for supporting my channel. It really means a lot. And if you'd like more Dollar Tree DIYs, YouTube thinks that you might enjoy this video right here. Happy crafting!